Yes, hello. I am James Rowlands, and today it's WNR376. It's NXT update, and I have the pleasure to be joined by the fantastic Monty. How you doing, man?
Oh, I'm glad to be back here on the WNR podcast. How are you doing, James?
I'm all good, mate. All good. All better to have my NXT update kind of partner by my side to get through it, because I think that's the thing now, where even when I'm watching a program, I'm thinking of you.
Oh, that. Thanks. I agree. I understand that. There's definitely some things I've noticed, and I'll be like, you know what, James would definitely enjoy this. So I agree. I understand exactly what you mean. We're basically a tag team at this point. I can't watch NXT without preparing a note or something for the show. So I'm ready to get into it. I'm happy to be back for another update.
Well, and of course, people love having you on. And what they loved as well was Monty as Samoa Joe, as we had on the last update. and don't worry, we're going to have more of that on today's show. We've got 5 episodes of NXT and 1 episode of NXTUK to catch up on to get back Takeover, because as everybody's listening to this, we are just a couple of hours away for NXT Takeover. And I will say, what a SummerSlam party last night as well, eh?
What?
Wink. Wink.
Well, oh my God, what a lead in. Even if it was a good one, I don't know if I can make it sound like one right now after that. That was pretty bad for me. I don't even know what to say.
Well, we're going to start with the July 20th edition of NXT. And like I said, there is so much that has happened. But we've opened with a video package of William Regal reminding Samoa Joe of his limits as the enforcer for NXT. Yes, he is still the enforcer at this point, and he can only put his hands on someone if provoked. We see Karrion Kross choking him out last week as the end is near plays. This was also, the end is near is probably one of my favourite WWE themes ever as well.
Oh yeah, it's very, very dramatic. Also, I love the drama. I must say though that I did not think I would miss Scarlett as much as I do mouthing the lyrics as when I see Cross on the main roster. Oh my God, it sucks without her. But the song is great. The song itself is awesome though. So I don't want to.
No doubt. But Samoa Joe is here, and he has something to say. Straight down to the ring and calls for a mic.
Okay. Tick tock, tick tock. Guess who's come to smash your clock?
William Regal interrupts. This is not what I wanted, and this is not what I had in mind. I don't know why I'm trying to put on an English accent when I'm actually English, but still, whatever. You cannot be calling out superstars.
Incorrect. The agreement was if I was provoked, and you can consider me provoked.
Whoa, I understand, but last week you entered the ring in a referee capacity, and then he puts down an NXT referee, not NXT management.
Semantics. Cross is out of control. Cross needs to be put down. Did you know about his little field trip to Raw last week? No, you don't. He's not under control, and I'm here to put him under control.
Well, Cross is on his way here, and when he gets here, all hell will not break loose. You will solve this problem peacefully. Do you understand? Don't say another word unless it's the right one.
Because of my deeply held respect for you, tonight will be the end. But I can't guarantee that it will end peacefully. I can guarantee that somebody tonight is going to sleep.
Ba-down, bow, bow, ba-down. That scene.
I'm trying to match his intensity, but like Joe is screaming and he's sweating and he's angry. So if I yelled a little loud, I'm sorry.
No, much appreciated. Like I say, fantastic opening segment there with Samoa Joe setting his stall out. We get a video package with Zia Lee following, and then Tyler Rust and Roderick Strong. The Diamond Mind, remember them, versus Bobby Fish and Kushida. Fucking hell. Like you said, when it's a weekly thing and program and you're watching like this, but unfortunately with an update, sometimes, like you said, a collection of episodes, this has not aged well at all, has it?
At all. This entire storyline, the whole Tyler Rush being associated with Diamond Mine, everything about it is just completely outdated. I haven't seen Kushida in weeks. It feels like. I mean, I can just break down everything about this match. I mean, I've seen Roderick, so yeah, hey Roderick again. But poor Bobby. Like I said, I don't know what to say other than a lot of this from this point has not held up, and it wouldn't be long before a lot of this would already be off of television. This is insane.
Well, Diamond Mine restored them a fish back in the apron. And the final big hot tag got the NXT Cruiserweight Champion in the ring along with Russ. He made him tap out to the hoverboard lock. And Kushida, like we talk about, was on such a roll. Probably the best wrestler for me watching him for that 4 or 5 month period. What do you know what I mean? Do you think Diamond Mine has brought him down, or do you think it's just kind of general booking?
I think in a way, I think also it was a gradual falling down the competition ladder, if you see what I'm saying. I think the last person of note, not to disrespect Roderick Strong, even though, because I believe once Kushida and Roderick Strong actually gets in the ring, it will be a really good match because those two guys are very, very talented. I think they can give you what you want to see in the ring. But as far as his opponents before he even got to the Diamond Mine, it was randomized. It was young guys that they were given a chance to show, like Carmelo Hayes, show what they can do, like Carmelo Hayes and other people. So he gradually dropped down against, as far as like the importance, importance, he dropped down that ladder as the weeks have gone by with his reign. Even though he's been having pretty good matches anytime he's out there. Even this tag match, he shined as he always seems to do in the ring. So once he's out there, what's going to happen. But how much of an emphasis or how important, I think I'd be lying if I told you the Cruiserweight title feels as important as it did with Santos Escobar.
Yeah. No, I think that's true. I don't normally get bored watching NXT, but when you've only got kind of one of the four that you like, it's kind of tough. And I put it here, the new heel shouldn't lose, but like you said, it doesn't really matter afterwards. But we see LA Knight berating Cameron Grimes as they pulled up in a convertible. Cameron Grimes, as he goes to get all Knight's luggage from the trunk, Jake Maverick tries to help. Knight says, "Is it bring your idiot to work day? He brought you. Me and you later. You good with that? Yeah, you good." And Grimes says, "Don't worry about him. I've got this." Then we see a promo packaging for Odyssey Jones in a breakout tournament. He's in a broken records in the weight room, a broken jaws in the ring, and I'm ready to break out. And of course, Monty, that is your pick. It seems very clever pick at this moment in time as well.
Have good luck in these tournaments, by the way. If you notice, good luck.
I have never won a tournament. 6 years of podcasting, I've never won.
You're gonna have to go back to the drawing board or something at some point. Change up.
I'm gonna be like, which one do I think's not gonna win, and then I pick him.
Exactly.
We see Joe pacing back and forth backstage, wait for the rival Cameron Cross. Then we get Frankie Monet versus JC Jane. And we see Jessie Chimera walking out with Frankie Monet, joined after the bell by Robert Stone. And Mandy Rose sadly announced they were to watch Monet's work. JC Jane got a few good shots of Monet back there, where a loco put her down with a gland slam. This was a squash. Commentary remind us that they're on Sci-Fi for the next couple of weeks. And then we go to an interview between Wade Barrett and Bronson Reed. And I think even now, more so than ever, but literally, listen to this, right? So Bronson Reed saying, "My wife, who believed in me for 14 years, and in an instant, I'm no longer the champion. But I can't stay in that mindset. I've got to push forward harder than ever." Barrett asked him if he's wise to face Adam Cole. He said, "We'll saw what happened last week. He ran his mouth and shut him up. The same thing will happen in the job." You know what I mean? His wife, who believed in him 14 years, and we know what's happened now. Like,
it's insanity, man. I just like I agree. You watch that back and you see just how, again, that image in my mind is him and his wife celebrating the title reign not too long ago. That's still very fresh on anybody's mind if they've been watching. So to see that, like you said, to see where we are now, it is just, it's just one of those things that like puts it in perspective. Oh, wow. How like this is the Twilight Zone almost now.
This is, like I said, this podcast in itself could collapse on itself by featuring talent it's kind of like it doesn't really exist in its own ulterior timeline. So I can't. Anyway, Kyle O'Reilly versus Austin Theory next, who's gone missing as well, but we get on to that. Theory goes to look for no high five and then slowly realises Gargano isn't there to give it to him. We see Theory set off an anger in O'Reilly by grabbing the steel steps that led him to hitting a diving knee drop into a knee bar for the win. I think Austin Theory really showed out in this one, and my favourite quote was Theory wants to be like his Papa John.
Right, Theory really impressed in this match. I really thought that O'Reilly gave him a lot of a chance to just show what he can do. I don't know what was going on that week, but it just really felt like one of those times that they wanted to showcase, how talented Theory is, and the future can be bright for somebody like Theory and like what he has, and even with this character that he's developed along in this faction on the way. Who knows what could be in the future for Theory, but yeah, like I mentioned, like he's disappeared. I don't know where. I think the last place we've seen him was on the woods on the internet. I guess he took a photo in the woods. I have no clue what the hell happened to Austin Theory, but this match also did a great
dropping
job.
like flies. They're dropping like flies. Help us! We're not going crazy. They were there.
They are literally disappearing, my people. I don't know if you have been paying attention, but these are human beings disappearing.
Thanos he's clicked his fingers, and we've lost half of the roster. It's a good match, though, wasn't it? Like,
it was really good, and Kyle O'Reilly also did a good job of showcasing that a mean streak as they, in the coming weeks as he's going to continue to show. But yeah, I thought this was a great, showcase for Kyle O'Reilly also to show that, because what he was mad at Theory about, it didn't really add up to the trying to cripple the man. So, but it worked. It worked. Like I said, it worked for what Kyle is going for right now. And yeah, this was good stuff.
We see a backstage interview with Raquel Gonzalez. She says Ely has no chance. His kick doesn't scare me. A bodyguard doesn't scare me. And a little friend who sits on a throne doesn't scare me. After putting Zia down, there'll be nobody left. And, all these changes, I'm just glad Dakota Kai and Gonzalez are together. Up next, it's the Mariachi Madness musical from Legado. And Santos Escobar told his Mariachi players to leave the ring. He refused to lower himself to the level of his rivals by using music rather than wrestling to define himself. Hit Row arrived to talk down the group. Says first Scott explained that this was his payback for Mendoza and Wild him winning the NXT Cruiserweight Championship. The brawl broke out between the two groups where B-Fab saved Swerve from taking the guitar to the back. In response, Hit Row isolated Wild, who took a super kick and a guitar to his own back for his trouble. This is the kind of start of the feud that's kind of blossomed in this month. But Hit Row are just different. What were your thoughts on this?
I thought this was good stuff. Everything that Legado del Fantasma and Hit Row have been doing is just really good. I thought the promo on Escobar's part was really good. I thought, kind of like, even though I wasn't really expecting Legado del Fantasma to give us any music with it, I kind of like their retort, to Hit Row's Cypher, I think that's what they call it, the Cypher style promos that they have been given. And I just like how Hit Row was there to defend themselves. And how many times do you get to see two groups just not only to give a promo, but fight it out in that same segment? I just thought that was also a nice touch. Usually the heels cower out, or usually it turns into a predictable tag match. I just love the flow of this feud also. So yeah, I thought this was.
I 100% agree. And then we see Candice as being hard on the way. Indy speaks up. If Austin wants to kiss Dexter, she should let them. Which is probably one of my favourite lines that I've heard. They just looked at it. What? Then we see Joe still pacing backstage. Regal asking him to calm down, and Joe saying that I respect you, but I'll be the first man to greet Cross when he gets here. And then Odyssey Joan, or Monty's pick, as I'm going to call him, versus Andre Chase for the breakout tournament. And Chase shocked everyone early by taking down Jones with help from the announce table, hit a moonsault on the stand of Jones that almost stole the win. However, the big man hit his second wind and never looked back. He planted Chase for a side slam to take the victory. What were your thoughts on this? Because a lot of people are comparing Jones to Henry. But Henry never ran out for his entrance, so I don't care what anybody says.
Yeah, I was about to say the energy and everything that Odyssey Jones giving me is the opposite of Mark Henry. He never think to rile up the fans or really care that much. I mean, even anytime I can even think of Mark Henry as a babyface, I don't remember him ever being, that type of, or at least that energetic in his motion. But I understand maybe with the size and his athleticism and some of his moveset, maybe I can see it. This match, was what it was. I honestly was surprised at how much offense they let Chase get in, because I really expect Odyssey to just, I expected Odyssey to squash most of his opponents just because of what I had seen of him before. He just seemed to be that type. Not that he's just a squash match wrestler. I think he just has everything that they need, and I don't understand. Depending on who he's fighting, I think that he could just dominate, and that can help also with his size and that stature. Especially in NXT, it's not the biggest guys in the world. Like a guy like Odyssey Jones towers over Karrion Kross right now. So I really can see like the future and something that maybe even Vince would like. Now I don't know if that means we're gonna see Odyssey Jones long in NXT. We'll see what happens in the next year. We can't keep anyone on this brand like we've been talking about.
Think of the children.
No one is safe unless you're Gargano and Ciampa. But anyway, This match was what it was, and it was really, really cool. It wasn't like the most exciting thing in the world, but I think it did a good job of establishing Odyssey Jones, especially charisma-wise, because the fans were really behind him in this first match.
Yeah, I think without doubt, Jones, like you said, might be on the main roster sooner rather than later. 27 years old. And if you look at, if anybody wants to compare to Mark Henry, go back to Mark Henry from 96 as a kind of bumbling babyface against Jerry the King Lawler, and compare him to where kind of Odyssey Jones now. And then again, so we'll move on in a sec, but people, this is the thing with wrestling. If WWE had kept Mark Henry and Big Show and would use them in positions, people were saying, why are you not finding the next kind of stars and instead of, using these guys? And because they've released them, now you go, why have you released these guys that you could use? Because someone like Jones could be there to fit the bill,
Exactly. I think the thing is, the only thing that I like about for example, for AEW, what they do with the older talent, they are finding newer, unique ways to use them, and I think that's what WWE fails a lot of time. When they use their talent, they're using them for the same thing. They're not trying to put over young guys. It would be great if they could have kept a Mark Henry there to be not necessarily a manager, because he doesn't necessarily have to manage, but anything, a mentor on television, anything could help advance a story. That's the only thing that sometimes I hate about WWE, some of those missed opportunities. But at the same time, I agree they do get unfair flack, because if they're pushing a Big Show and actually making him involved in segments and beat certain people, you're definitely going to hear the rumors, and you're definitely going to hear the same thing when they let that talent go. It's just you can't really win when you're as big as WWE in certain cases.
Yeah, that's true. And if we learned anything for this tournament so far, it's the big man always wins. MSK's backstage for the interview, just about to explain plans for Imperium interrupt the video feed to remind us that the mat is sacred and we're here to protect the purity of our sport by any means necessary. That's quite catchy. And the feed comes back and Lee says, and that's what MSK stands for. I didn't mind this. It wasn't too bad. And then we see Pete Dunne. Now Lorcan challenge the Dangerous Bastards to scrap next week before our next match gets underway. I've just had a vision of Dunne versus Volta for the NXT title. Oh, good times. Up next, LA Knight with Cameron Grimes versus Drake Maverick. And in a match, the WWE $1 Million champion looked dominant until he was after the ball. He kept demanding that his butler hold the title high for him. Maverick sent Knight right into the championship, rolled him up for free. The finish actually made me laugh out loud because I wonder how they're going to do it. And I'm just glad Drake has a job at this moment. But this is a storyline that's kind of keeping me tuned in.
I agree 100%. The story here was perfect. The finish was an absolutely, it was genius to me. I just, I never really thought of that, of seeing that. That was just creative. I love when things that are done that's creative, but also just like something that I don't think I've ever remembered. This entire Butler gimmick, I think this is funny to me because when you explain it or when you think about this story, this just feels like something that Vince would come up with, but like fail to execute. If you see what I'm saying, maybe it would even go in the right manner, and maybe it would, because sometimes Vince books some decent stories when he's dedicated to the story or to the people involved. But, like this story just feels like it could go wrong. But Triple H has also allowed Cameron Grimes and LA Knight, and even with, later on with Ted, he's allowed them to have the freedom to make this story their own. And I think that's what makes it so great. And that, like you said, that finish was just perfect. I love Cameron Grimes telling Maverick, you need to go instead of celebrating. You need to get out of here. That was just perfect. And then he ran right into the clothesline, for the beat down, and then forcing Cameron Grimes to attack Maverick. It was just perfect. It was really good stuff, and I agree. This is right up there. I don't know where I ordered this between Index and Joe and Cross. This is right up there as far as storylines that have been just great across the board.
Yeah, I completely agree. Like I said, Grimes is congratulating him after the match, telling Grimes that this is your fault, starts laying the boots to Maverick. Grimes pulls him off and gets in his face. You don't need to do this. The match's over. Let go. No. Knight says, no, it's your turn. You're going to hit him. Grimes refuses to try to leave. Knight drags him back in the ring, and Grimes is beside himself, and then reluctantly hits Drake Maverick. I'm laughing just because it's like the LA sucks chance and everything. The way he went down on his knees. It's the perfect good guy, bad guy. It's what wrestling used to, you know what I mean? It's like a time capsule at this moment in time.
I agree. Like I said, the booking of LA Knight, like I said, as someone who wasn't the biggest fan of Eli Drake or LA Knight in the past, or even at first, I was wondering, okay, where they're going with this. Like you said, that old school flair has even leaked into like his story, the storytelling, everything about it just gives you those feelings. Like you said, you look at, it's not often these days, we have so many cool heels, so many heels that want to make, or not that they even want to make you laugh. It's so many of them that not even on purpose makes you laugh, like a Gargano or something like that. And then you have, it's rare in wrestling today, and you kind of get that appreciation for it, because this is how it was when we were younger and you were a kid, that you just look back and you watch and you're like, man, what a scumbag. And that's what I love about what LA Knight is doing. Like, every week he almost one-ups himself in just how much of an a-hole he and it's just great to watch. You know what I mean? Like you said, it gives you that nostalgic feeling of characters.
Without a doubt. And like you said, no cheers whatsoever. We see Joe try to set Cross's car in the parking lot, but he wasn't in it. Driver left him out front, so Joe leaves in a furious rage. And we get told what's happening next week. And then Zia Lee's entrance, and we're going to see the NXT Women's Championship on the line. Raquel Gonzalez versus Zia Lee. We get no Boa and no Mi Ying, so no Tian Sha here. Raquel Gonzalez doesn't return the favour, though, because Dakota Kai accompanies her to the ring. We see Gonzalez use her power against Lee early to the challenger, the champion around the steel post. This gives Lee a target that she would not let go. But a spinning Vader bomb for the champion knocked the wind out of Lee, who managed to kick out but struggled to get up. When the officials allowed the challenger to continue competing, Gonzalez landed a single arm power bomb for the definitive win. Shit, man. Last month, Zia hurt Mercedes Martinez, as we know, in the match, and now it's the other way round. I mean, I've watched Gonzalez since debut. There's no way she's dangerous, and it annoyed me on Twitter with people going she was dangerous when they've not seen her work, and they just assume that it was kind of her fault. Fair play to Lee to finish. The replay looked nasty. Do you think she should have taken that power bomb as well? And what were your thoughts on the whole situation?
Yeah, it's tough to say. I think either from the splash from the corner or from the move before that, it looked like obviously from that moment she was either going through a real problem or the wind was severely knocked out of her. So when she took the splash, that seemed to really only make it worse. So when when you think about it, no, she probably didn't need to take the powerbomb. They could have just finished the match, and they've done these stoppages in the past. So I think it would have been a perfect time to just do the stoppage and not make her take another bump unnecessarily. But like you said, she still looked tough. She still finished the match, and I think the match was winding down at that point anyway. Even though maybe, who knows, maybe could have had another gear because Xia Li dominated most of the match. From my point of view, and then Gonzalez got her. It seemed like she was about to wrap it up anyway, possibly. But this match, honestly, like I said, I wasn't too invested into this match, and like I said, I want to oppose this at this point instead of what happens later on. So I just want to say it now. From this point on, I have to say I enjoy Raquel Gonzalez, but it really sucks that her reign has to follow Io's reign because, it's not all her fault because like we talked about, the talent, the feuds are different, all of that. And I don't want to speak too soon because I understand what we have to talk about later and how excited I am for this. But I'm just saying, at this point, before we get to the Dakota Kai thing, that at that point I wasn't really I haven't been as impressed with her reign. But I agree. She's not unsafe. She wrestled many people smaller than her. Everyone she wrestled for the most part, other than Rhea Ripley, is going to be smaller than her. So, if she was unsafe, she would probably have a trail of bodies behind her instead of just this one incident. Things happen in the ring. You know how it goes. If you watched enough wrestling over time, you probably, I don't know, I've seen hundreds at this point of just mishaps, and these things happen. So, hopefully it's not a stigma that follows her, because I know some people get a bad rap.
Yeah, I think without a shadow of a doubt. Well, then we see Samoa Joe walking to the ring to end the show. And I'd say Monty as Samoa Joe is my favourite as well.
All right. Karrion Kross, come out to play. Where is my young champion? The man who just refuses to learn. So tonight, you will learn that there will be a record. Stroll your happy ass down here so I can stomp it all over the...
Well, instead, Kross appears on a video screen. He said, "This is my world now. This is the way of the future. And this," as he holds up the NXT title, "means I can go anywhere I want, do what I want, and I can hurt anybody I want." For example, "Hey, Joe, do you feel like you're still in control?" He's left William Regal bruised and beaten in the parking lot and drives away before Joe can catch up with him. The end. You bastard. What do you think?
Do I have to do the primal scream Joe did towards the end?
You can try it.
No, I'm good. I don't think I got it in me. But it was just hilarious. Like, he was right there, and then Kross with this evil smile laughs at him and drives off in the car. It was very top-notch dramatic, top-notch male soap opera stuff, if you see what I mean. Hilarious to me. I really wasn't expecting this when it happened. I'm not sure. I think when this happened, this was right after he lost to Jeff Hardy. So a lot of people on the internet had a lot of stuff to say about Kross as a character, and oh my God, they ruined this Joe thing before it even started, and doing what wrestling fans do, jumping to conclusions before, before things are even set in stone. And here they come, very next NXT, they immediately reestablished how badass Kross is. Of course he attacked Regal, not that Regal is a threat, but just being that, that much of a bastard to attack William Regal, show that type of disrespect to Regal and to Joe, the taunting, and like you said, he keeps asking who provoked who. Man, all this did was just get me ready for the inevitable Joe and Kross collision.
Yeah, without a shadow of a doubt, and another good episode of NXT. We move on to our second one, July 27th. We open with the Samoa Joe promo from last week, considering himself provoked. And then we see Beth Phoenix and Raquel Gonzalez here tonight, something to say. And Wade Barrett reminds us it's Adam Cole versus Bronson Reed in our main event. And first up, though, some tag team action. It's a Dangerous Bastards versus Pete Dunne and Oney Lorcan. And the DBs actually controlled the early going, but the Hills soon turned the tide. The Blackheart took a hot tag and ran it over with both Hills. Rich Holland laid Thatcher out on the outside, which allowed Lorcan to help Dunne. This set up a bit of red for the win over Ciampa. And then returning Holland stood alongside Dunne and Lorcan, and he laid out Thatcher for knocking out Ciampa with a headbutt. Before your thoughts on this, Ridge. He's called Ridge Holland. So what do you think of the match?
Okay. That's hilarious. I'm sorry. The match itself was absolutely insane. Before, Mr. Holland decided to make his presence felt, the match was just going on another level. Oh my goodness. By the way, I'm gonna always say this when he does it. Ciampa, man, I need help. I'm an overweight, but at the same time, I never liked cardio. I played sports growing up. I hated cardio. What does Ciampa do to stay in shape? Because he seemed like he was clotheslining forever, and he just was nonstop. Didn't seem like he ever needed to take a break at all. Just didn't even break a sweat. He's an incredibly conditioned athlete. I really was digging this match, and then what happened at the end, I was shocked. I haven't, Holland has been off the radar for almost pretty much. I completely forgot about him at this point, honestly. But it was great to see him back. He looks like he's in great shape. I wonder how the state that he's in, because that was a real serious injury that he took, that he had. So I know it's been a long journey. So the fact that he's involved now and is and he's going to be involved with Ciampa and Thatcher, I don't see a downside in that. As long as these guys, the brawlers, that is the Dangerous Bastards, and the great technical wrestlers. That matter of fact, they're both brawling in technical marvel. So as long as they're all involved with each other, I'm a happy man.
Yeah, I think without a doubt, I love a scrap. And if we're gonna name that group as well, then I'd say I have no idea what we're gonna call them. But like I said, there's a joke in there about Ridge, Dunn, and an Only or something like that. But I'm not really sure just yet.
Okay, they definitely need it if they're gonna be continuing to be rivals with the Dangerous Bastards. We got to come up with more names for these great teams while they're still here.
Yeah, well, let's say, how fucked up would it be if NXT started calling that team the Dangerous Bastards, and then we had to go, it's the Dangerous Bastards, Ciampa Thatcher versus Dangerous Bastards, Hawking Dunn, and all. I hope they don't, but you never know.
Giving them a great idea to just screw with us, aren't you?
Well, they released all the fucking talent, didn't they? So they fucked
already screwed with us enough.
NXT screwed NXT. We see Carmelo Hayes promo saying that he took Sheer to limit and he slapped up Nicole in the face. Meanwhile, Samoa Joe's headed through the parking lot to CWC wearing a shirt that says "Provoke Me." Nice touch. Then we get a Hit Row promo. B-Fab shows off her bilingual skills, Top Dollar as well, and declares himself new. Adonis tells everybody stop talking about Hit Row or they'll get knocked out. And Swerve said, if you didn't know, now you know. Every time I see Swerve, I just honestly can't take my eyes off him. And then Samoa Joe has arrived. Oh, look, this is the last time, I promise. This is the last time.
Carry on, Cross. I can come out here and bark about you until I'm blue in the face. But I know you're too much of a gutless coward to be in the building right now. So I decided to be proactive. Mr. Regal, would you join me in the ring, please, sir?
Well, Joe's already set up a table and a chair before Regal's arrival and offers a chair to Regal, but he prefers to stand.
I can see the rage bubbling behind your eye, and I understand what Karrion Kross did last week was reprehensible. It was wrong. And I know tonight you're going to fire Karrion Kross. But listen to me, I have a much better solution. I have a way to satisfy all of our needs in 3 easy steps. Step number 1. With this piece of paper, I tender my resignation from NXT management. Effectively, I quit. But with this piece of paper and your signature, you reactivate me as a part of the active roster here on the NXT.
Well, Joe hands him a pen, Regal signs the paperwork, and the NXT extras erupt in cheers.
But of course, I said that this was a 3-step process. And with this paper, you will make official Samoa Joe versus Karrion Kross for the NXT Championship at Takeover 36.
Well, Regal hesitates for only a second before signing the contract, and the crowd chants, "Thank you, Regal," and the two shake hands. I can't remember a match this big in NXT for years, and I know, like we said, Karrion Kross with Raw, but if we ignore that and just his booking on NXT, actually the immovable object versus the unstoppable force, isn't it?
Yeah, I understand. I'm trying to think, when you bring that up, what match? Maybe Finn Balor, Adam Cole, but probably Keith Lee and Adam Cole is probably the last time I can think of it. And even if you want to say this is even bigger than that, I can understand it because of how dominant Joe was in his initial run and 2-time NXT champion. And just the build also just feels bigger. Kross is already taking out most of the division. He's to the point now to where he's attacking management. So it's like he's completely out of control. And then you get someone like Samoa Joe to come back and take a shot at him. I mean, yeah, I agree. This is one of the biggest stories, not only in wrestling, but not NXT, but in wrestling. And it's one of the biggest. It's right up there with some of the best narratives that's going on right now. And I've enjoyed every step of the way, even even with some of the bumps in the road, if you want to consider the trip to Raw or whatever, a bump in the road, I think that this feud has been right on the money. Every NXT they've been doing a great job of just getting us right to where we're going to be, and I just can't wait for that matchup at Takeover this weekend.
No, without a shadow of a doubt, like it's just a couple of hours away now. We get Josh Briggs promo, and then we get LA Knight on a golf course when we return. How long do you want me to wash your balls for? Cameron Grimes is cleaning LA Knight's golf balls, of course, as his caddy. Get me a driver. A driver? I'm your driver. No, a golf club. No, get me a sandwich. What, sandwich? Who am I, a caddy or your chef? Grimes bets him $1,000 to hit the ball into the trees. He refuses. Grimes ups the offer to $5,000. He refuses again. Knights hit the ball into the trees. He said, I believe you owe me $5,000. I don't owe you anything. Now go get the ball. Yes, Mr. Knight. I could watch a series of these two guys. I mean, the scene of Grimes balls to his back is just it's goofy, but I love it, you know?
Oh my goodness. Yeah, it was great. You know, everything they've done in as far as those vignettes have gone has, you know, whether it's low key just hilarious or whether it's just outright, you know, ridiculous in some of the scenarios they've been put in, is just great. But yeah, I think so far that I don't know how you can go wrong with these guys involved with each other, with you know, as far as the vignettes go, and just how creative they've been. And then you can even go all the way back to like Cameron Grimes before this feud, and you know, just everything he's been doing since he's returned, or before with even with the Lumen stuff, all the way back to the Lumen thing, stuff the storyline that he had going on. He has been great in these like cinematic or like, you know, sketches or like skits, and they've just been always been great and entertaining. And just add another one to the list, man.
Without a shadow of a doubt, we've got still more of that to come up next. Is breakout tournament, Carmelo Hayes versus Josh Briggs. And even though Briggs hit a choke slam, he could not get the victory, and he fell to an emphatic diving leg drop by Hayes. And Hayes does have the swagger, and Briggs is 6'8", and the only thing I noticed about him is he has some Justice League tattoos, which is fine, I suppose. And then backstage, Frankie Monet says that she could merge with the Robert Stone brand and make it better, or she could rebuild them from the ground up, or she could team with Jessica May to win the women's tag team titles, whatever. Casey Catanzaro and Caden Carter come up and tell them to get back in the line, and Frankie Monet says they're super annoying. And then Cameron Grimes is pretending to be a play-by-play announcer for an annoying Knight. The ball goes in the water, and Grimes says double or nothing. It looks like 10,000 now. Knight tells him to go get the ball out of the water. Ted DiBiase pulls up in a golf cart, just because he's playing at the same day, I guess. Right. Guys like, yeah, it's very lucky. Guys like LA Knight, they only hang you out to dry. Grimes says, I man my own word, Ted. I thought you'd be more angry if I didn't keep my word. And DiBiase says, you weren't born to be a butler. You were born to be a fighter. I want you to think about that. And he drives off. And then we see Ridge Holland's caught leaving a question where he did it. And he said, it's none of your business. And Timmy Thatcher isn't the first person I smashed up. Won't be the last. And then Raquel Gonzalez have something to say. Here we go. So Gonzalez says, last week I crushed one of the most fierce superstars in the women's division. I've dominated every single person who stepped up to the plate. All I have to say is keep them coming. Dakota Kai says, 18 months ago you debuted and you've been absolutely unstoppable ever since. I tell people my best friend Big Mummy calls the most dominant women in NXT history, more dominant than Charlotte, Oscar, Baszler. You defeated everyone who stood in your past. The list goes on. You continue to go on. Do you know what the NXT division is one of the greatest? It's because of one woman. NXT Takeover is 4 weeks away. So let me ask you this. Who is the woman enough to challenge Raquel? Which woman knows they have the takes to stand in the ring and face Raquel? Is there anyone at all? We're waiting. No, there is no one. We've been through so much together. As long as I have your back, you will always be champion. Kai holds her arm up and they pose. Gonzalez climbs the rope and waves her belt in the face of the extras. And then Kai charges as she steps back down, nails her with a flying knee. She takes the belt, stares at it, and now she's waving it in Gonzalez's face. She drops it on the champion as the crowd cheers. Gonzalez looks stunned, upset, and ready to cry. What were your thoughts on this massive development?
Oh, man, it was just what we needed. Just like a breath of fresh air, in my opinion. Reign of Gonzalez's, and also just like not only besides that, it was just a great moment. It was so well done, you know, in time. You know, she's taken out the division. You know, no one came out to challenge her. So you know, it was just the perfect, and also the perfect wording of things. As long as I'm with you, you will be champion, and just like to go right there and, you know, hit her with the the kick. I love Kevin Owens' reaction to this entire segment on Twitter because it was just perfect explanation. You know, she was a side kick and then she hit her with the side kick, so it was just perfect. It was perfect, and you know, like you said, it was a very, very great dramatic development, but big development, and just something that was needed. And it was one of those things that also sends that message of, all right, now we let's rev up those engines. We're ready to go now, because this can be a great feud for them, you know, not just because of the talent involved, but because of how close they've grown.
Yeah, I thought maybe is it too soon, or is it just a case like Triple H going, look, I fucking want this feud before they take Gonzalez away or Kai,
Right.
you know, so let's do it right now.
Yeah, I think it has to be considered with everything going on, with all the mystery budget cuts, the call ups, the how much of his talent has been backstage at the main roster shows. It has to be on his mind that, okay, if I have a story I want to tell, I need to pull the trigger. And also, let's just be honest, who else was left? That promo had a lot of truth in it. You know, unless you were gonna give EO a rematch, or, you know, I'm just and EO's a tag champion right now. Like, again, so like who else was who else do you plunge in that position? Maybe a Candice LeRae, but she's busy doing her thing, you know. So like everyone else I can think of, you know, either are doing something else, or, you know, are injured, or, you know, whatever the situation is. So I think it was just a perfect timing, also because of, you know, the state of the women's division, at least when it comes to contention for Raquel's title.
Well, up next, Adam Cole with promo. This is amazing when you look back on it as well. He said, lately everybody's been trying to attach themselves to yours truly. Bronson Reed was going to be his rebound. Are you kidding me? I'm not a rebound. I'm the top of the mountain. I'm going to make you fall off. I could give a damn about your 14-year journey, because tonight will be a very sad chapter in it, courtesy of Adam Cole, baby. Many a true word said, I would think there. Up next, Io Shirai is training by herself, so he starts says they should be training together since they're the champions. Shirai says, no thanks, I don't like you. Stark says, come on, let's go hang out. Trust me, I promise you're not going to regret this. You're going to have a great time, I promise. And then backstage, Mandy Rose is talking to JC Jane and Gigi Dolan. Rose says, get out of here. I bet they're working for the Godfather. I bet you any money they're undercover there. And then we get Casey Catanzaro and Kaden Carter versus Jesse Camara and Frankie Monet. Robert Stone could not get the same badge with Monet in the entrance, which translated to the match. Stone calls a distraction to set up Catanzaro 450 splash before a free count on Leroy Loco. I mean, can Stone just fuck off? I mean, holding Monet down, in no way she should be eating the pin. What were your thoughts?
I think your initial takeaway is literally the only thing I have. I literally wonder, what in the hell is Robert Stone adding to you right now? My Frankie, I just don't understand the point. Like, why would anyone? Like, he is like so far just what, like, I don't get it. He hasn't shown anything that's of value that make you be like, you know what? He can work for me. Like, no, he's been completely useless his entire time in the division from the beginning. You know, so I immediately thought that, when I saw that, but the match, the tag team match itself was solid. I thought the team, everything went as planned. But yeah, overall, I do wonder, like, come on, like you said, just fuck off. Like, who needs Robert Stone?
Literally, yeah. Wade Barrett is with Roderick Strong and Malcolm Bivens, and they basically talk about all the drama in the Undisputed Era. They couldn't break through it until he got a call from Bivens, and Bivens says Roderick Strong is the number one because he's a leader. Who else is going to fucking lead? There's someone left. William Regal. He said even William Regal couldn't bring him back, but I could. And he said, do you like money? Let's have Fish versus Strong in a matchup. Yeah, all right. And then we get the announcement that Walter versus Dragunov will take place at NXT Takeover 30. Honestly, I cannot wait to say it. We've talked about NXT UK this month. Anybody go and check that one out as well, NXT UK update. And then we get Hit Row versus Imperium. And we see Top Dollar picking up an emphatic hot tag run over Imperium. But the Legado del Fantasma arrived with a smile to cost their rivals a match. While Top Dollar was distracted, Adonis took Imperium's powerbomb, diving uppercut finisher. For the Lostworth sent Legado del Fantasma running before Santos Espa and his crew could do some damage to Top Dollar. This was a nice match. Imperium looking for gold, but I'm digging Legado Hit Row feud. Like you said, it's just too gangs kind of, or two teams that just dislike each other.
Yeah, it reminded me of, I don't know if you ever seen the movie or played the video game of the Warriors, but that's what they kind of remind me of that. Of like just meeting up, two groups, two gangs, like you said, meeting up in the middle of the road and just fighting it out or whatever. I love it. And like I said, I like factions anyway, so I obviously with Triple H's booking, if you really think about it over the years, he obviously likes factions, and understand that there's value in factions. So I love what they've been doing with that feud in general. And this match again, Imperium doing what they do best. And by the way, I have to say, give them a shout out. I don't know what the hell has been going on, but they have like leaned and like ripped the hell up for some reason all of a sudden. Shout out to those guys for getting some top notch shape because they I don't know. We were talking about they needed something. Maybe that mean maybe they felt like they needed to get in shape. I don't know.
Well, no, I'm just hearing they were bitten by radioactive spiders. So I mean, it's kind of.
Walter got hit too. He's like Walter walking around looking slimmer too, and I'm like, what the hell is going on?
I literally keep telling people, like, put Thanos and Vader together, and then you've got Volta. Like, literally, it's like that's all it is.
Yeah, definitely Thanos. He kind of favors the thing, but yeah, great stuff though.
Well, backstage, Candice LeRae blames Johnny Gargano for Austin Theory running away. There's a knock on the door, and Gargano hopes it's Theory, but instead it's some handmade artwork showing Dexter Lumis as part of the way. Hartwell says everyone deserves a chance, and Gargano says no chance, and the Ray's in hell. Hartwell proposes a match between Gargano and Lumis. If he wins, Hartwell gets a man. If he loses, Hartwell can't bring him up again. And then we see Bronson Reed get ready backstage as we go to a break. And then more shenanigans. The grizzled young veterans are on the golf course. Of course they are, because they've always talked about golf. And they're complaining that LA Knight is playing too slow. They offer a better response, 20 grand to whoever can hit the ball into the hole. Grimes hits Knight in the nuts of the head with his backswing and knocks his golf ball straight into the cup for a hole in one. Grizzled young veterans flee in the golf cart as Knight jumped him instead of Grimes smacking him up. And Knight chucks his club at them in frustration. This may be the funniest thing I've seen in wrestling since the Rock and Sock. I mean, generally, I'm laughing talking about it. That's how funny it was.
Yeah, I understand, man. Like, it cracks you up. It's just so well done. I even love how out of body or out of character it seemed like GYV was. Like the way they drove off and the way they were just terrified of what was going to happen after what happened with LA Knight. It was a great segment. I really enjoyed it, and you're just like you said, it's just hilarious and just so well done, and just the chemistry also, even not just Grimes and Knight, but even with GYV, the chemistry was there through the entire vignette. I just thought it was a really good, fun break from all of the drama that was going on in between those segments.
Well, especially the slow-mo into the bollocks, as we say over in England. And even on Twitter, even people going RIP LA Knight's balls, which again is just, that is what Twitter was made for.
Oh, God. Yeah, this is good stuff, man. It was really, really good. And like, again, Triple H has a lot of sophomore type things, quirks about a lot of the stuff that he's involved in. So I know that he probably was laughing at this execution once the finished product was ready. Like I said, they've been making gold.
They really, really have. And the main event is Bronson Reed versus Adam Cole. The Colossal One made a mistake by trying to take the former NXT champion to the top rope, taking a super kick to leg and sent him crashing to the mat. And just when it looked like the Colossal One was back into it, he missed a tsunami and left in the path of the last shot to give Cole the win. And afterward, O'Reilly arrived to lay out Cole with his steel chair, smashing the chest of his rival and then planting him with suplex on the steel steps without hesitation. I mean, was this, it's different now because I put my note in it, was this really a main event matchup with Adam Cole and Bronson Reed? I mean, I didn't mean it in a way of like what actually happened, but I mean, what did you think of the match, and was it just set up for Kyle O'Reilly to attack him afterwards?
It was definitely, I think, a setup for that. I think as far as their caliber, with not only within NXT and just like their match caliber, yes, this is a main event. Like you said, that's why I think I like how you pointed out it not really involving in the ring. Like, but yeah, I thought this was a great thing. Unfortunately, I do want to comment. I did watch this match in hindsight of his. So since I did not get the perspective of someone who, believed that Bronson Reed was gonna have a future, after this, I did come in and look at the match as kind of like a last hurrah, even though the release seemed like a shock. I don't think they knew anything, but they also didn't want to book Bronson Reed too strong because obviously his future was in question. So this match was though a great match, fundamentally and of course with those two involved, I wasn't really surprised. But the attack afterward, I can see how this match was just a setup for the attack. And again, I don't know. This is what also I wanted to ask you: are they ditching? Is this the ditching of that cool Kyle character? Are we just trying to see a more, methodical, like sadistic side of Kyle? And he's just gonna stick more with that going forward? What is this with his character? Because it is obviously a 180 from the cool character he was trying to portray.
Well, we were speaking about kind of like Ilya Dragunov and the kind of when he's in a matchup, he's kind of the way he is, and then it gets to a certain point, you kind of snap, and there's kind of no controlling him. Right. And I think they've seen that and they go, well, let's try and do it with Kyle because and the way he treats Adam Cole, and that can take him to the next level. But unfortunately, when you haven't got, I don't want to say personality because I don't think that's the right word, but if you can't portray that for people just watching, then you're thinking, oh, that's a bit fucking harsh from him now, because it's like you said, the goofy promo beforehand and then something serious, as opposed to kind of that shock of Ilya Dragunov is kind of what's made him who he is. Whereas with Carl, they've not he's always playing second fiddle to Adam Cole still. And I think maybe that's what the story they should be focusing on.
Yeah, and I agree. I agree 100%. I think honestly that's the detriment to this. I honestly was sitting back and I was contemplating really seriously how much. Like I understand how much of a build is getting. I'm pretty sure the 2 out of 3 falls match will be awesome. But personally, I didn't even understand. Did they really need to do this a third time? If you see what I'm saying, that's how ahead I feel like Adam Cole is. So when you feel like that too, I think that takes away from it also. And then also Adam Cole, it's hard. I don't know if I'm supposed to have sympathy for Kyle O'Reilly. How can I have sympathy? Am I supposed to have sympathy for Kyle O'Reilly here, or who am I? Like, because Adam Cole is not going to change his behavior, so that's another thing. I'm just confused on. At this point, I was very confused on where they were going.
Well, it's an excellent point because it's kind of like going, yeah, I murdered people. Yeah, I've done horrible things, but I'm over that now. Well, hang on a minute, you got an answer to that. Like, at least Adam Cole is saying all this kind of shit of like, well, I'm still that kind of person. I am. Kind of always go, no, I'm completely different. I want to be kind of validated, and it's like, what have you done? It's like with Cameron Grimes' journey, he's done more now. So when he finally eventually gets that $1 million belt, it's going to mean a lot more. Whereas if Carl beats Adam Cole, we're going to be like, oh, he's beat him.
Exactly. I don't see him gaining what maybe he should gain if you think about the setup of this entire feud. If he wins, I don't see him gaining what he get. And if he loses, it just reestablishes what we already know. So
the problem, I think one of these things. Sorry, I was about to say one of these things that I think leads into it as well, because obviously on August 2nd, the rumors started coming out about Adam's Cole contract, because obviously it's expiring this weekend as we talk. And of course he signed an extension at Great American Bash. And you think when you got someone like Adam Cole, who, he says he's the greatest NXT superstar of all time, he's in the top 3 without argument.
Exactly.
Why did they let this situation happen? And why is Bronson Reed versus fucking Adam Cole happening when neither guy are going to potentially be in the company a month later?
Exactly. And it breeds of that, of what we also have been hearing as of right now, or at least recently, of the dissension between what NXT has planned and what they've been told and what the higher ups, have commanded and have been told. Like, you can tell it's obviously a mixture, because you don't book that way if everything is so uncertain, if you see what I'm trying to say, or if it doesn't seem like you should anyway. Why would you put him in that spotlight if 2 days later, or 3 days later, he's going to be released in the middle of another show? Like, it's insane when you really think about what's actually going on. And I don't know if all of the rumors about a power struggle is true, but I do say on the outside looking in, you can't help but assume something is going on. Like obviously a massive miscommunication.
Yeah, without a doubt, I completely agree. We're going to go to news about that after our next show, and we're going to August 3rd now. The show opens with last week at NXT, and of course tonight's we start off with Hit Row, Chantilly Adonis and Top Dollar versus Legado del Fantasma, Oaken Roll and Raul Mendoza. See Top Dollar taking control of the matchup, but Escobar pulled the big man outside and hit him with a steel chair. In the chaos, Legado del Fantasma attacked his ear Swerve Scott and ripped the grill out of his mouth. B-Fab with a steel chair and Dollar worked together to send Escobar running, but Top Dollar will only get better. But I don't think I've seen grill theft in WWE until now. This again was added another layer to the story between these two teams.
Oh yeah, I agree. Never seen this in wrestling. It's actually a very, very nice touch, especially in WWE wrestling. I've never seen it, but it's really a really nice touch when you think about it, like especially what we were just talking about, the kind of like street element that's involved maybe with this feud, whether it's obvious or not. I thought that was just a great way of taking it to the next level. Like if you know anything about that, honestly, as in African American culture, just not even just African American, just like in personally and just culture for me. But as an African American, I will say in African American culture, taking not just a grill, but any of my personal jewelry is an ultimate sign of disrespect. So it definitely takes this to the next level, and it makes this personal. And again, adding another element to just be like, okay, when they finally get a chance to go at it, crew versus crew or Escobar versus Swerve, it's going to be great. It's going to be, personal, and it's going to be physical. And, I can't wait to see what that turns into. But, yeah, this only added to that.
Without a doubt, and like you said, there's meaning to it now, so it's not just about a championship, which actually kind of makes sense, but now you kind of got the personal feeling. And with two teams going against each other, you can get tag matches, you get 6-man tag matches, you can get single actions with Escobar and Swerve until you eventually get to that North American match. Hopefully at a takeover, and then like I said, it will see a much bigger deal because they've been building it, and even 3 episodes in, and like to talk about it's the index stuff. It's Grimes and LA Knight, and I think it's this story as well. Yeah. It's kind of going through with your kind of your other 3 main events storylines as they were. And Samoa Joe is part of that. Of course, he's backstage with Regal. He's signed him a security detail to make sure nothing happens between him and Karrion Kross for Takeover 36. And we get a recap of Rich Holland's return last week. And then we get Dexter Lumis video pack showing off his artistic abilities. And then we get Ikemen Jiro versus Ridge. I hope I don't get injured again. Holland. Holland hit a pounce outside that sent Jiro to the barricade. He ripped off Jiro's jacket, bastard, before finishing him off with a Northern Lights bomb. Holland threw Jiro out the ring after to allow Pete Dunne to speak undisturbed. Bruiserweight put over his crew, named Lorcan and Ridge is the most dangerous trio in NXT. Prove him wrong, or dare ya? What were your thoughts on this?
As somebody who liked Ikemen, it really sucks to just see. But it was one of them. It's one of them situations that once I saw that's what we was fighting, I was like, poor Ikemen. I already knew what was coming. Was it gonna? Yeah, was it the you didn't draw the best card here, man. But anyway, the match itself, obviously what it was in place for was for Holland to reestablish himself and kind of just show what he can do, and it was short, sweet. It did what it needed to do. So I didn't have a problem with it, and I honestly want to know, what is the future of this tandem? Will Dunn, is it now done and just in Holland? Especially when we talk about it, and I guess we'll talk about it more later about Pete Dunne's future. I really want to know what is the future of this team. Is this going to be Holland's thing going forward? Is it going to be, a power struggle down the line? Who knows? But still very early at this point. So it was good to see Holland back.
Yeah, without doubt, even though Rich Holland does still sound like a porn star. But when the pounce is done right, it looks great no matter what wrestler.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
And one of these things I love, Pete Dunne threw the mic down so hard it bounced up and hit only Lorcan, which again, it's you went backstage and he went, it fucking hit me, didn't you? We see Frankie Monet.
He shrugged.
Yeah, he was just like, yeah, that's what happens to me all the fucking time. Then Thatcher's going, yeah, well, at least it's not a chair, mate. You know what? You know what my partner's like. Frankie Monet, Jessica Mary, and Robert Stone interview backstage. Frankie takes charge in the interview and says last week's loss was from Stone's interference, and she's bang on about that. And then we get a video package hyping up Roderick Strong versus Bobby Fish. Fish showed that he had a plan early, connected on the barrier, kicks and forearms. This word Malcolm Bivens early, but Strong fired back with his signature backbreaker. His Fish fan has come back. The Messiah backbreaker planted his survival, the end of Heartache for the victory. And as we know now, Bobby Fish's last NXT match. Could it have been more, or did the injuries really didn't help?
I wonder. I really don't know because like I said, as far as it sucks because I love him in Red Dragon. I love his contribution as a tag team wrestler, but I'm honestly wasn't really sure what they would have for him, honestly, long term. That's why I remember when this feud and Undisputed Era were breaking up, I was most worried for Bobby Fish because I knew they had plans for Kyle O'Reilly. We knew Adam Cole was going to be in the forefront of whatever was coming. And Roderick Strong was pretty much good on his own, if you remember, at the beginning of the Undisputed Era. You know what I mean? So, out in that situation, if you see what I'm trying to say, would be Bobby Fish. And like you said, the injuries and, his age with the current rumors that they're trying to, get younger, in WWE or just like in NXT. So it's just a lot of things that kind of, took away from him. But, who knows? I think he's talented, and I've liking some of his work in the last few weeks. Even if I'm not going to say he's the most interesting character in the world, but I think he's pretty good in the ring. So it still sucks to see, but he got to go, got to leave on a strong showing with Roderick Strong here, and I guess that's the best way I can look at it.
Yeah. And I suppose if he hadn't had the injuries at the moment, then Roderick Strong probably would never been in Undisputed Era, and we wouldn't have had what we've got now as well. So Aaron Port ringside was never really given a chance. And then we see Cameron Grimes present LA Knight with resistant bands and ask if he can go. He says he looks ready, despite that he's wearing a suit, and he'd better be ready to have his back against GYV. Grimes said he wasn't a man of his word, he wouldn't be wearing a suit, and asked if Knight has his back. LA guarantees that he has his back and asks him to shine up his boot real nice, and Cameron gets to work as we go to break, you bastard. And then back from the commercial, Chris and Young veterans got a promo during the entrance. Drake calls Grimes living proof that he can't polish a turd, that he can polish a turd. It gives us he doesn't know what weird role playing game they're up to, but friendly advice, stay out of their way. James, my favourite promo in NXT at this moment in time. And then we lead to Cameron Grimes versus LA Knight versus Grizzled Young Vets. We see the Tactical Savage planted James Drake with a crossbody, but Knight accidentally distracted his partner. Now Gibson to get a hot tag to take down Grimes. Grimes called to the corner to get Knight a hot tag, but the $1 million champion jumped off the apron, you fucker. He left Grimes alone, breaking his word. The Technical Savage fired up, but he still ran right into a ticket to mayhem. And then Ted DiBiase confronted Grimes at the edge of the ring. He told him that he had to find his way out of the deal for helping him to the back. What were your thoughts on this?
This is just very good, just like perfect storytelling, dramatic. For some reason, I feel like Cameron Grimes is probably the only person who did not think LA Knight was going to leave him. There's no way that, like you said, scumbag. Everyone knows what LA Knight is all about. That's why I say that this feud has not only elevated, or if it's not elevated both guys, it definitely made people take a different view, or at least say, like, for example, a few months ago when LA Knight debuted, he had a lot of talk, but I didn't quite know what he was all about. This feud has done a great job of just showing you what type of character LA Knight is, what he's all about, and I really love that. And I think this match is a great example of that. GYV taking advantage of a great spot, and they're always on top notch. So I thought everyone did a great job in this match. Cameron Grimes again getting sympathy, the crowd investment in this story is also top notch. So just like across the board, they just kept hitting it out of the park. And like you said, it's the little things, leaving your partner and all of that. These are all things that we probably have all seen before, but just an accumulation of just like how much of a jackass basically he can be.
This is what I say, but it gets you though, because you're thinking, do you know what? They won't make a bad oddball team, actually, maybe for a little while. And then when
Exactly.
he does it, you go, that's why you go, oh, you fucker. Because, like,
And that's beautiful. That's what I'm saying. That's what wrestling is all about. Like, did you hear how that makes you feel? Like, that's what you want. And that's the reason why the crowd is like that, too. You know, like, this story is just like you said, it's just great. And they've just been able to reach everyone that has been able to keep up with this. They've been able to reach them because of that feeling that you just get. Like, man, LA Knight, you just frustrating. Or, you know, man, you just want so much for Cameron Grimes because you know all he wants to be is the $1 million check. And, you know, and go to the moon. Like, you want him to go to the moon. So, like, the story is just perfect in that way.
And I would say all 4 talents involved, grizzled young vets, Grimes, and, of course, LA Knight, could all be on. You could have this storyline on Raw, which would play out. You could have GYV chucked over on SmackDown to face, you know, Mysterios and the Usos and stuff like that. Would be top quality as well. And the thing about it, and I looked at this because I was panicking after the news came out of, like, they're looking for young guys. Cameron Grimes is only 27. So we're going to have a lot, hopefully, of that. I mean, and like I said, this is a guy who, when we first started watching this together, I wasn't into him at all. It was just like kind of generic thing. And then I think the feud with Dexter Lumis, and he gave everything. And it's like this feud, he's giving 100%. You can't say he's calling it in or nothing at all. And I think that's what kind of gets me invested long term. Like I said, that and Index, and we get a video package recap of Samoa Joe's return to NXT. Well, I'm here for this as well, actually, and a recap of Dakota Kai and Gonzalez. Well, and this. So apart from that stuff, I'm interested in. We see Dakota's explanation come by the way of a video package when she basically says Raquel was just supposed to be a muscle. It's supposed to be the one to win the title. That was good shit because you can understand it completely.
Oh my God, this is
see
this promo segment.
Well, I think without a doubt, you know, and we've seen a lot of it. Doesn't have to kind of be like, you know, 10, 15 minutes long, but straight to the point. And we see what's going on. We see Gargano and LeRae interview backstage. Johnny says he knows what's best for Indy. He has to protect it at all costs. He's not going to be popular, but tonight he ends Index for good. And then we back from commercial. We see Adam Cole's not medically cleared to compete with a number of neck issues. Commentary inform us of face-to-face next week. And then breakout tournament first round match. Chainsaw Joe Gacy versus my pick Trey Baxter, and the big man rolled early. Clearly, Blaine got clearly dazed by all sort of sudden offense. Baxter followed him with an impressive, innovative offense. Kept the action moving. Finally, Baxter hit a 450 stomp for the victory. I thought the big man went down too easy in this. And did Gacy look a bit like an out of a shape Joe Coffey?
That's a great reference. Oh my God, I knew it was somebody. I was trying to place it. I was like, who does he look like? I've seen him before. It's just like, oh man, that's great. That's great. Now, you know, I remember I was familiar with Gacy and CZW, so I know a little bit about Gacy, but still looking at him, oh my God, that's a great one. With Wolfgang, I see it. I really see it. That's Joe Coffey. I'm about to call him Wolfgang. Someone else he can look like, right?
yeah, literally like out of shape UK wrestler.
Oh my goodness! Now, see, your questions throws me off. I'll be ready to go a different way, and you take me somewhere else. But hey, that's a great one. I had to look at him. Yeah, that's pretty good. But anyway, I was impressed with this match. At times, I must say, I was surprised. You know, honestly, with Baxter's victory, even though that was your pick. So that just lets you know I'm already doubting everyone you choose from the beginning.
You know, he honestly does you credit. Well, we get footage from Vio Shine and Zoe Stark hanging out at a Japanese restaurant. Orders in Japanese and Stark just does I'll have what she's having and gets put off by the food. 6 eats a big honking bite of wasabi without knowing what it is, the whole 9 yards. And Shirai sticks her with a bill. My only thing, I didn't mind this, but why the funky music in the background? Like, there was real fucking, like they're in a restaurant. It's kind of like a really weird. Who picked this? It just doesn't stand. It doesn't work. It really doesn't.
Again, look at what you noticed. Now, what I noticed was just how much food Zoe Stark wasted. It is people starving somewhere, and just so you can make an impression, You waste all of this. If you don't understand the menu, you know you either could have gotten translations, you could have only gotten one unfamiliar sounding thing instead of the entire meal that EO got. Oh man, I'm nitpicking, but yeah, this segment really aggravated me because I just didn't think, is this what people do when they not familiar with another culture? They just eat a bunch of stuff that someone else would
Which
know.
they could be allergic to. Like,
Yeah, they could be allergic. You don't know it. You don't have a clue. You don't have a clue what you're doing.
Yeah, I'll have a plate of nails and I'll have some glass. Just like smashed up. That's
And what they did not show us also is that Zoe Stark definitely would have been made to clean all that mess up. There's no way no one saw her throw her entire meal into the corner of the restaurant.
It's exactly. It's just like, what the fuck were you doing? Like, you don't do that. You don't order everything and then throw it over your shoulder. Yeah, no, we're filming something. Oh, sorry, guy. We thought she was like a moron, just like.
Exactly.
Anyway, back from commercial. Indy Hartwell's interview, she said it's complicated. On one hand, family. On the other, true love. She won't say she's pulling for Dexter Lumis tonight, but if he were to win, she thinks Candice and Johnny would see that he's misunderstood, and tonight we'll see if it's meant to be. We then see Karrion Kross come down and call Samoa Joe out to focus scene, and he gets on, with Joe choking security out as he runs away. Their package for Raw to defend the NXTUK title against Ilya Dragunov at Takeover. Walter is just so cool. Sorry, EO. And then back commercial, Kushida cuts a promo. He says he respects Roderick Strong, and he wants a shot at the NXT Cruiserweight Championship. And then Gonzalez will break her silence next week. And then our main event, finally, is Dexter Lumis versus Johnny Gargano. Love her or lose her matchup. And we see Hartwell running down the ramp to ask Gargano to give Lumis a chance. The Poison Pixie arrived when Hartwell and Lumis met hands below the ring. Distraction allowed Gargano to attack Lumis, planting with a series of running kicks. The Tortured Artist went for a springboard elbow. Gargano dodged and knocked Lumis, and the Gargano escaped. In ensuing action, Hartwell took an elbow from Lumis. The distraction allowed Gargano to hit one final boot outside, followed by another inside the ring to win. And then Away tried to walk Hartwell out. Instead, she rang in the ring and jumped at him, kissing him passionately to end the night. Yay! What were your thoughts on the match? And what happened afterwards as well?
Oh my goodness, man! I really enjoyed not only the obvious match. I thought this was one of the best, maybe the best match Lumis has had, if not in NXT, but at least since the involvement with Cameron Grimes, of course. But this was just really good stuff. It was a quality, solid match, and Gargano just is. I talk about it all the time. I don't want to do this for another episode, just telling you how great Gargano is. I'm pretty sure you understand that. And this was everything it was supposed to be, if you ask me. And all leading up to that wonderful moment after the match, and what a lengthy kiss. What I also liked, it was something that you have to pay attention to with a guy like Lewis, since he does not talk. Facial expressions. He looked desperate at times in this match, and that's just something that you don't really, we all know how cold and calculated, and just how blank his stare usually is. And he still was obviously the same stoic demeanor, but at times he looked desperate in this match, and it said all his body language say all you need to say when it comes to when it involves this story, because if he's desperate, that means he really wants this, and everybody wanted the index thing to work out when it comes to this story. So it was just a great cathartic moment. You just heard the fans; they loved it. It was really good. It was really good stuff, and I also liked how Gargano kind of looked over his shoulder when it happened, and just kind of just stood there like, I did all of this for that.
Yeah.
I did all of this work just to have to deal with it. And also, overall, if you want to take a parenting story from this, if you ever want to force your daughter or son to stop dating someone, and you just keep harping on it, this story is another perfect example of how you're only going to force them together with that person.
Your
That
little
you
girl's
hate.
gonna, your little girl's gonna run away with a serial killer that you dislike. That is something special, the old romances are the best, she met
Classic
him, he
romance
fell in
tale.
love. He was a serial killer. Credit to Vic Joseph with the Power of Love lyrics beforehand. He's cropped up a few songs, so I'll keep an eye on that. I've not been as happy since Macho and Liz got back together at WrestleMania 7. I was the woman crying in the crowd. That literally. And then serious news, August 6th, Bobby Fish, Bronson Reed, Jake Atlas, Harry Sterling, Connor Reeves, Leon Ruff, Stephen Smith, Tyler Russ, Zachariah Smith, Asher Hoyle, Giant Zanzier, and Mercedes Martinez were all released. Reed and Leon Ruff both held the NXT North American Championship within the past 8 months. Martinez was fourth in the women's division. Tyler Russ has just returned as part of the Diamond Mine. Simply put, why would fans bother investing in these characters in their futures on the main roster in even NXT if it's so uncertain? Is everybody expendable, or does any one athlete more special than the rest? I mean, I said hints of Keith Lee to Bronson Reed, and I meant the fact that he could be a force to be reckoned with, not the fact that they both might be released by the end of 2021.
And just think about that. Just think about when we started this entire, me being on the WNR podcast, where everyone was at just when all of that began, and now look at where we at now, to where we don't even know where two of the most talented guys in the world, whether they'll still have a job by the end of this year, or whether in Keith Lee's case, we don't even know if he'll even be wrestling again, much less employed. So it's insane. And then, like you said, back to these particular releases, like we said, it was hard to review these older episodes or watch them post, the news, because it's just like that's how prominent on television a lot of these guys and gals were. Like you said, we just watched Xia Li injured. The last time we seen her, she was injured, and now she's gone, and it's just crazy to think about that. We talked about this in the past, just how much talent they've gotten rid of when we mentioned the Wyatt release. So think about it now. And then like I was mentioning earlier, the women's division, and how we were saying this is one of the deepest women's divisions, and now we're in a whole entire new that fast with just. And it didn't take any time. It felt like it didn't take any time for us to get where we are, and it's just a complete whirlwind of news. I couldn't believe.
Yeah, it's just horrible, Like I know it's like, oh well, what are you to say something like this? But it's like I said, with the talent as well, and it's with the fans, because we do invest. You buy T-shirts, you pay for monthly subscriptions, your DVDs and games and all this kind of shit. So fans will, rightly get upset. And then we got Dave Meltzer revealing that Triple H, Shawn Michaels were not involved in the decision to release multiple NXT talents recently. It was Vince McMahon, Bruce Pritchard, and John Laurinaitis who picked them, and claimed now, like we talked about earlier, we touched on it, they're feeling that a lot of old competitors, NXT, are too small and too old. The wording is no more midgets. They want starting in their 30s, and they want people who can be box office attractions and main characters. But when's the last time they built a box office attraction?
Exactly. Even with the young talent that they've accumulated, we've seen a lot of young guys who have already come and gone, who are younger, and who were younger at the time. Like don't tell me don't tell me you're looking for young talent when you have people like have stories and situations like what happened to EC3 when he was just a young guy who was just on your roster for a long time doing nothing. Looked like $1 million. You couldn't use him. I could go down a large list of people who don't fit that criteria. And Bronson Reed also don't necessarily fit that criteria. I mean, I don't know his exact age, but he can't be that much older than some of the other talent that they're showcasing now. Like, and I just, like I said, that entire thing, that's what you hear, that's what's being reported. And the thing is, I already knew that Triple H and Shawn Michaels or whoever, the NXT had no say in these releases because it just didn't make sense. Like we said, it didn't go in line with recent booking. You don't use that much talent when they're at risk of being gone, or when you know that you don't, or you're not sure about them. You don't put Bronson Reed in the main event like that if you're not sure about them. So it's just incredible. I don't know. It's like you said, it's crazy. It's something that me and you both enjoy. I honestly, over the last few weeks, was seriously contemplating how much longer will we be doing these NXT things based on a lot of the things I'm hearing, because it almost sounds like NXT may not be here for long, or at least the way that we think of NXT.
Well, this is the thing, and the WNR podcast itself started watching it. Weirdly enough, it was Joe Watch we started watching first with him in NXT, and then watched NXT, an hour show being taped, and then you see all the rumours now coming back. But even then, Samoa Joe, Finn Balor, and people like this. Bronze Free's 32. Like we talked about, Bray Wyatt's 34. Bray Wyatt was. Bobby Lashley's 45. 45. And he's done. So I kind of age, even think we're still 12 years to develop. It's unbelievable. And there's a tense and sour move reportedly overshadowed much of the Performance Center ahead of the August 10th episode of NXT, amid further releases from the brand and speculation regarding the future. It's no real surprise. No. I mean, it's what you expect, well, the show opens with a recap video covering highlights of Joe and Cross. And the commentary informs us that Ember Moon isn't clear to compete, so we think she's been released because that's how we work. Did you panic at that point, or did you think, she might actually just be injured?
At this point, I don't know what to think. Like, when I hear that now, it's either like you said, my mind races to injury, to actual injury, which sucks, to release, which sucks, and then to COVID, which I don't even want to go there, but I still even think of those things when people disappear. So, yeah, definitely panicked when I heard the news about him.
Well, Dakota Kai is the surprise opponent for Sarai. She first says that she's going to defeat the undefeated sign and show everyone that she can be the new NXT Women's Champion. It was a physical back-and-forth contest that pushed the captain of the team, Kick, to dig deeper in the repertoire to stay in the fight. Warrior's son hit a low drop kick in the ropes. We looked like it killed Kai, but she decided to go for a second one and missed. Then Kai caught her opponent with a KO kick for the victory. Gonzalez arrived to save Sarai from the continued attack on Kai running her off. And the NXT Women's Champion grabbed the mic, promised to tear her former friend apart at Takeover. It was a good opener, but I think it will take time for Sarai to find her groove. Was she rightly positioned here?
Yeah, I think this is a great person for her to go against if Ember Moon couldn't go, doing this with Dakota Kai right in front of this match, because Dakota Kai could use not that she need a victory, but it's always nice to big up your contenders before the big title match and get Kai a nice victory. And as far as Sarai goes, like you said, it's gonna take time. She's gonna have to establish herself a little bit more. I do think she's positioned, because I think before this she was pretty much undefeated, so might as well go and get that first loss out the way, and then reset, and we'll see where her footing, or see where she sets up to be in the coming months, because we know in this division, as good as it is, you could be next thing you know, Sarai can be contending for the title in the next 2 to 3 months, depending on the direction of the booking. So just got to give it time, and we'll see where she's at as these weeks go by.
Well, we get a recap of last week's main event. We get footage of Indy Hartwell doing her makeup for her first date with Dexter Loomis. Garner and LeRae are at the kitchen table, talk about how they're going to make this work when Loomis rings the doorbell, carrying roses and wearing a shirt covered in tiny skulls. Johnny greets him when Candice chats with Indy. She asks if she's got protection, and Hartwell says she's a former tag team champion, so it doesn't need protection. Brilliant. Garner has an awkward "what are your intentions with my daughter" chat with Dexter, ranting him while Loomis just stares on in silence. Eventually the two lovebirds leave, and Johnny reveals that he's got a tracker on his phone as we go to a break. I mean, people will either love it or hate it, but I love it.
Oh man, yeah. Like I said, the entire metaphor from the beginning of Candice and Gargano being parents, and just how much they're playing this up and actually going along with it. I get, like you said, you're on two sides of it. You either love it or you hate it. I think if you've been keeping up with the NXT update, you know where me and you both are listening. Everyone should know where we stand on everything. The waves, everything index, everything that they've been doing, it's been great. And like you said, entertainment at its maximum, I guess, because I'm always chuckling or just smiling when I know the way has a segment.
Well, back for commercial, hit row in storage container with a trash fire roaring for some reason. They call the Legado del Fantasma out and say if they want to disrespect their culture, they'll disrespect theirs, and they burn a lucha mask. And a lot like you kind of elaborated on last time. And even for me, it's like, right, well, lucha mask for Mexicans. And like you said, now it's kind of going, well, if you weren't sure what it meant, this is kind of what it is. And then it's like, right.
Exactly.
Which I quite liked. And then Dragunov made his entrance. He gets on the mic. He's not a man of big words because where he comes from and the path he's going, words don't mean anything, but the struggle means something. The sheer blind belief spirit is meant something. So he puts all his strength not into his mouth, but straight into his fists. At Takeover 36, you'll witness chaos and rage, and history will be made. An unbeatable kingdom falls when he ends Walter's reign, becomes NXT UK champion. And Pete Dunne talks about how without him traveling the world as NXT UK champion and carrying the entire continent of Europe on his back, he wouldn't even be here, which is, I would say, maybe true. It's true. He put him in his place for a long time ago. Juggernaut is not here for anyone else here because he carried his so often destroyed body straight to the top. He'll make the impossible possible and beat Walter, and that's something Dunn can't change, especially something he never did. But he'll put his will with words and he's challenged him to fight tonight. Pete says tonight he won't make it to Takeover. I love Dragunov, but his strong points are his promos. But for me, Dunn versus Dragunov in the dream match. And the reason why I talk about how important Pete Dunne's role was is because during that title reign, I know not a lot of people watch NXT UK now, but he was the kind of reason why it became, they made the brand from it. It was because him, it was because of Tyler Bate and the kind of talent they had that they made it into NXT UK. And I have been personally waiting for a rematch between Volta and Pete Dunne 800 days. You know what I mean? Since Volta beat Pete Dunne, I always thought we were going to see it again. And we've got Dragunov there. What do you think of Dragunov? Because, I mean, as an American audience, maybe not used to NXT UK and with a weak promo, do you think that would affect him a little bit? Or do you think to see him wrestle?
And I'm privileged because I've been able to watch a little bit of what he's been doing recently in the last 6 weeks, with our update. So I've been paying attention, and the promo fits a little bit in line with, like you said, it wasn't the strongest, but it fits in line with what I was used to from this story. And I'm so ready for the match. I kind of, didn't really even pay that close attention to the quality of the promo. But I will say this, like you said, once he gets started, once the bell rings, I don't think it even really matters. That's just how good he is in the ring. I think he showed it on August 10th. He's probably gonna show it again, and I know they will show it again when he gets a chance to get his hands on Volta. So, I do agree. I think it more so of like, once you just get him in the ring, none of that even really matters. But at the same time, I do know how American audiences are, and if you have a bad promo or a showing that is less than stellar, it can be something that follows you. Like someone in their mind may have watched that and thought, okay, this Dragunov guy may be good, but on the mic is obviously, and so I can see, people doing that and latching on to that. But he's so good in the ring, so intense. His matches are so fun that I don't really care that, the promos are not necessarily the best or great from him.
I just don't want them to Cesaro him, in that kind of way.
Exactly. That's the fear. I agree 100%. You do not want to get into that range of underappreciated and, because like no one is more underappreciated because of what people believe about his talking ability than Cesaro. So, yeah, I agree. That's a great thing to be paranoid. But once that bell ring, oh my God! Like I don't know how you take your eyes off Dragunov. He's great.
Oh, like I say, I'll gush over that in a little bit. We get LA Knight first interview backstage with Cameron Grimes in tow. He takes issue of being accused of leaving Grimes hanging, saying he lost the match despite Knight's best efforts to keep saving him. So LA gives him an opportunity to clean up his own mess, but he failed. Ted DiBiase tried to fill his head with all this talk that he's special, but Cameron is just a butler. There's only one man who runs this. And Knight will be in action after the break against Andre Chase. Chase with advantage of a couple of hip toss, but just to the ropes. And then pinfall with his snapmare driver was over and done. And then Knight tries to make Grimes shine his boots, but he's interrupted. Enter the $1 million man, Ted DiBiase. DiBiase said it's gone too far. He knows Cameron's a man of his word. He could be doing a lot of other things. LA tries to say he wants to be a butler, but Ted says Grimes has a lot more going for him. He believes in him, so does all these people. He tells Cameron he can do whatever he wants and follows his heart. He knows he wants to be champion. He thinks if LA Knight puts $1 million championship on the line, Grimes would win. Knight said it's scientifically proven that Cameron can't beat him, but he give him another match to Takeover 36. When he wins for the third time, Grimes won't be his butler. DiBiase will. Ted says a very interesting proposition. He's a gambler man, and his money's on Cameron Grimes. He's got a lot of money. The stipulation is set And like I say, how much of a heel Grimes would be if he won and laid out Ted DiBiase would be unbelievable. What did you think of this whole? What did you think of Ted DiBiase here? And first off, what do you think of the segment? And what do you think of Ted DiBiase's delivery?
The segment itself was fine. The match was like 3 moves. I think your breakdown there was pretty accurate for what happened. It really didn't take long at all for him to dispatch of Mr. Chase. But it was all about getting to that, getting to making this match again. And I like how we got there. I must say, you asked I'm glad you clarified the question about DiBiase, because his delivery at times was so. I don't know if he was just trying to do it for dramatic effect. I guess it kind of worked, because that's what I looked at it. I was like, he is taking forever to say what I already know I think he's gonna say. But I don't want to say, I don't know if he was doing it on purpose. I don't know if it was just whatever. But yeah, I definitely noticed in his delivery it was a little bit, like I said, I don't know if he was just going for extra drama. Whatever it was a lot of pausing, a lot of, not the clearest of thoughts. I don't know if maybe he forgot the line and needs to jog his memory a couple of times. I don't know. Either way it go, it accomplished the goal of getting us that match that we want.
Well, anybody wants to go back and check this one out? I couldn't believe it when I heard it, because Ted obviously seemed lost and repeating himself a couple of times. And I don't know if it was LA Knight or Cameron Grimes, but they actually the line at the end, "So you are on." So you can either hear Grimes or Knight going, as DiBiase looks at me, and they go, "So you're on," and he goes, "So you are on," and it's you thinking, whoa, if they're gonna have to feed him as he goes along,
it was interesting, man. It was very interesting.
I just hope he's okay. Not in a.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? It's like,
right. Yeah. Exactly. Really hope it's nothing that. But and things happen. Like I said, it could just been a slip of the mind or whatever it was. But yeah, it was a little bit. It was alarming. I'll say that. That's the best word I can use. Alarming.
Yeah, I would agree there. Then we see a Gigi Dolan promo, and then back from a break, we get Amira Miller versus Gigi Dolan, accompanied by JC Jane. Dolan dominated before Miller could even attempt to come back. Dolan planted her with an abdominal stretch buster for the win. I just want them to show me something here. Come on. What is her drag queen? I'm not sure. I do joke about that, by the way. I know she's not. But it was just, what the fuck is it? Like, not in a.
No, I'm with you. I am interested. I will say it's different. That's what I'll say. It's almost like she walks out there in a trance in her entrance, almost with the rose. I don't know. It's interesting. They're going somewhere with it though, and this Rose imagery, and we've seen her talking to Mandy Rose. So maybe a Rose will have. Maybe there's a faction coming with a Rose in the name of some sort. I don't know. But
literally, we will. We get Cole O'Reilly face off next. Regal made clear that Adam Cole versus Kyle O'Reilly will end with an undisputed finale. It'll be 2 out of 3 falls match with each man choosing a stipulation. Kyle O'Reilly wanted a straight up wrestling match because he's so fucking boring. That's why. I mean, who picks up? I'm sorry, but I want one day someone to go, yeah, well, we're going to have a fucking death match as the first fall. Okay. Well,
I really wish it wasn't Kyle who had to deliver that, because, like you said, it just hammers on. Oh, and this is why we don't like you, Kyle.
Yeah, you're so bland. You're like you go to an ice cream shop with him, and you're like, what ice cream do you want? Oh, I'll have vanilla. It's like,
exactly. Like, oh my God, straight up wrestling match. What is wrong with you? This is your chance. Even I think Adam Cole's initial reaction was hilarious. He's like, you could have picked anything.
Anything. Like, literally, how many matches have we seen? And he goes, straight up wrestling. And like, oh, for fuck. Adam Cole says he's been, course, he's taught him, he's been trying to live up to the legacy 13 years and ride on his coattails the whole way. And Carl will never be Adam Cole. He's the greatest NXT superstar this brand has ever seen. And Kyle O'Reilly is just a footnote in that career. So when Kyle O'Reilly wins, this doesn't mean anything. He's soft and pathetic, and a brawl breaks out. Screwy holds them apart as Adam Cole announces it's going to be a street fight. And then Regal says, the third fall, it might not happen, but it's still cage. And then they kind of, it's like, so who gives a fuck then? It might not happen. Like, you know. All joking aside,
one of the competitors has already guaranteed that it won't happen. He literally said, doesn't matter what you pick, William.
It's going to be 2-0. Like, shut the fuck up, William. Like, I've just said this. This is one of the last times, though, we're going to see Adam Cole in NXT, no matter what happens.
Yep, that's what it's looking like. It's amazing, right? We've come a long way with Adam Cole from the North American Championship days, you know, Undisputed Era, of course, just in general days, and his reign. Oh my goodness, it's crazy though, you know. And if it is ending it off with Kyle O'Reilly does kind of bring it full circle in a way, you know, putting over someone in the faction. That is kind of the old school way to do it. So if it is his last time, if he's going to the main roster, if he's going elsewhere, man, what a blow, in my opinion, though, that is going to be when you lose someone like Adam.
Yeah, top tier player. Then we cut to Thatcher and Ciampa cutting the promo backstage. Talk about how Pete Dunne and Lorcan need a third to put them down. Ridge Holland is young and big, and this industry chooses people like him, but Holland isn't Thatcher. Isn't Ciampa two men who have travelled the world, perfected their craft? They choose this industry, and they continue to choose this industry. If Holland wants to try and make his name at their expense, they'll party, and Tom tries to claim the match, but Tim, with all due respect, says he wants Ridge, and class will be in session, and then Ciampa fuck again all the time. Every time now I see him throwing that fucking chair as hard as he possibly can. Back for commercial, we get a promo from Imperium. They get interrupted by MSK, who mock their style of speaking and say they're the IV drip putting new life into the tag team division and offer a title match because they're fighting champions. And then up next, huge. It's the NXT Breakout Tournament semi-finals. It's Monty pick Odyssey Jones versus my pick Trey Baxter. So Colt Jones with a series of forearms and literally had him beat throughout the whole match, right? He landed a snap kick to the face. He was making him grog. The big man was out. Referee should have called it, right? But he didn't. And then luckily, fucking somehow fluked an avalanche into a spin outside slam for a win. Somehow Jones gets the win. I mean, can you believe that? That fluke after being dominated for so long.
I'm trying to, again, do you understand at this point when you tell me you think a team or a person is going to win, and if they're going against the person I picked, it's house money at this point. You know, it's just, I got this. I got this sold up because James got the worst luck in the world. So no matter what's happening to your Odyssey Jones, there's no way. And honestly, that's another thing I thought, and I hate that. This is, I was like, oh my God, the WWE machine is getting to me. I was like, there's no way, little Trey Baxter. I called him Lil. There's no way, Lil Trey Baxter beat Odyssey Jones. Like, it reprogrammed me. The little guy cannot beat Odyssey. Right?
Poor little Trey Baxter. He doesn't deserve any of that. Well, we get a short and cryptic show. He's sending us to the break. And back for commercial. Kushida leaves winning Regal's offers. Apparently, it's going to be a cruiserweight title match. Well, spoiler, there's not. Up next, Boa versus Drake Maverick. With Zia Lee out of action following a devastating loss, Boa made clear he's ready to prove himself for Tian Shah. But Drake Maverick actually was more impressive in this matchup until Tian forcing Ying to get involved. She sprayed Mr. Maverick's eyes with a distraction. Boa connected on a roundhouse kick for the win. I mean, look, fuck Boa, but first off, at least Drake survived another round of cuts, you know, so that's good.
Yeah, you know what? And that's one of those things that I'm like, I was like, there's no way they're going to release Drake Maverick again.
Let that happen.
Like, at this point, like, I mean, they could. I'm just saying. I want to know how this, and I know he's like panicking. He's hearing about. He heard what do you think his reaction was when he heard Bronson?
He shit himself.
I know he had to. He's out like, you know, I forgot about, you know, Killian was before that. So when Killian was gone, I'm pretty sure he was already in a panic. And then you heard Bronson Reed, he lost it.
Unbelievable. Back from commercial, we go to Dexter and Indy's date. She's a chatterbox and says she's always had room for dessert when a rate rolls up with a coconut cake. It turns out to be Johnny Gargano and a bad bigger moustache. When she pulls it off rather than him off, Gargano decides it's his cake. A tug of war breaks out and Kay goes in Dexter's face. Johnny runs away. Hartwell reminds Loomis she's always has room for dessert, and she eats the cake off his face as the camera fades. I didn't mind this. One of the funniest thing is a fake mustache over a real mustache gets me every time.
It is a nice touch. I wonder, did he know how ridiculous he looked? I think right after that segment, NXT, or I think it was NXT's official account, reposted the picture, or it was him himself who reposted the photo of how he looked. We're dressed up as the bartender, and he looked absolutely ridiculous. It was, like I said, to be that the person to have that courage to be able to make fun of yourself like that. Gargano is just so great, and those little moments like that is the reason why. Like, I just love Gargano so much.
This is perfect thing as well, because everybody listening going, oh, well, no, it's comedy. You can't be comedy and be serious. All right, who's better than Johnny Takeover? You know, at a Takeover event, who's better than Gargano?
Like, that's the most amazing part. Like, he's this entertaining, and I don't think he's lost any of his in-ring at all. Like, the thing that makes him special in the ring is still there while he's showcasing this character that's, beyond entertaining. And I think that's just one of those, like I said, like you said, who's better than Johnny Gargano? Who's better than Johnny Takeover? Who's just better than him in general? Like, he's top 10 in the world because of that ability, in my opinion, or because of what he's been doing over the last year or so. He has the track record over the years, especially with matches. But now with this character work and what he's doing as of right now, I don't think he's been better than what his recent The Way run.
No, honestly, it has been fantastic. NXT showed a dramatic vignette of Karrion Kross versus Samoa Joe when the NXT champion reminded everyone that Joe is a monster similar to him. We get a large Dragunov video following to set the stage for our main event, which is, of course, Dragunov versus Pete Dunne. This was an amazing main event. We see damage done did left hand of Dragunov took away much of number contenders' offense, kept pushing him through, all the same, refusing to quit after hitting a diving senton. Dragunov looked up to see Volta, and Dunne used the distraction to end this with the bitter end. The ex-UK champion tried to attack the number one contender after, but Dragunov fought him off and stood tall with the championship. People ask me why I watch NXT UK. This is why.
I thought this was a perfect display. This is that moment. This is the moment that I kind of mentioned earlier where I was watching the show and I was like, yeah, James, enjoy. I know he's salivating at the mouth or just enjoying this, whatever it is. I know he's just having a good time with this because it was just a great showcase of what what those guys in NXT UK are all about. Pete Dunne, like you said, no one exemplifies the brand more, than Pete Dunne, really. Like you said, even without being there, I think I don't think you would argue that he's still like the face of that entire, brand. So getting in the ring and having a classic, back and forth matchup like that with Dragunov, the only thing I hated was that someone had to lose this match. I love them both, and in their current position, I didn't want Dragunov to get pinned this close to the title match. But in the end, it's not. At the end of the day, I kind of rationalize it as it doesn't hurt to lose to someone like a Pete Dunne with his repertoire, with what he is known about, and how well built he was as a former champion. I don't think it hurts as much, especially with Walter's interference or involvement. And I also love they didn't stare down much. They didn't give you much to hope for. But, the little shrug, the little bit of the way Walter, kind of stared at Pete Dunne in the end there could be a tease of something to come, maybe down the line, maybe in the future. Who knows? But, this was a great, like you said, display for NXT UK.
Look, if the plan is because for Pete Dunne getting the victory here, it means he's protected, but obviously we can't do long-term storytelling. But if this happens, I'm going to be happy. Pete Dunne, well, if Joe beats Cross, as maybe people are expecting to, and then Pete Dunne beats Joe, and then we get Volta versus Dunne for the NXT title towards the end of the year, I'll just take that all day long, depending on the results. Like I said, I could be. But it was just great to see these guys just giving everything. And like I said to you, Aya is Superman, but Volta is his kryptonite. And we saw it perfectly. The way it's almost like a childlike state. And we saw it in the next week's episode as well. But before we get that, we're going to jump into NXT UK quickly, August 12th. just one episode. We see Andy Shepherd and Nigel McGuinness welcome us. And we kick things off with Flash Morgan Webster versus Wolfgang. Of course, we mentioned Wolfgang earlier. And he has Webster in a fireman's carry. Webster escapes and turns it into a poisoned Frankensteiner after Webster connects with a knee to the face, followed by a senton. Unfortunately, Webster offense runs dry. And Wolfgang splits him in half with a destructive spear and picks up the win. It was a fun little opener. Both men have a long history between themselves and the NXT UK tag team title. Nice sign of respect at the end there as well.
Yeah, I thought this was really, really good. It was interesting to me that that slap left a mark that lasted a week. From the beginning, I really thought that was hilarious. But anyway, this was an awesome, big man and smaller man match, kind of like with some traditional, with some great striking and great, just great action, like you said. And I just enjoyed, how Webster, forced Wolfgang to endure a lot, but in the end, being one of the biggest and baddest in the world, he was just too much. And I thought it was solid. It was a great way to start off the show, and it was a great sign of respect there at the end, and just good stuff, man, all around.
Yeah, without a doubt. Well, in 2 weeks, Joe Coffey and Rampage Brown will square off in a highly anticipated matchup. The only way to win is by pinfall or knockout. Backstage, Mark Andrews and Danny Luna to talk Andrews' pick match against Noam Dar later on. Isla Dawn sneaks in their interview. She and Luna started getting into it. The UK Performance Centre Mustache Mountain, Tyler Bate and Trent Seven, of course, are eager for the NXT Tag Team title match against Pretty Deadly next week. Yes, boy. And then assistant to the general manager, Sid Scala, announced that in 2 weeks, Ginny will face off against Aoife Valkyrie in a no disqualification match. Ginny's partner, Joseph Connors, will be allowed at ringside, but he will be locked in a shark cage. Ginny is not too happy about this. And then we get Amel versus Nina Samuels. And Samuels rocks Amel with big back breaker. Amel returns the favour from early on Samuels with a knee spin. Then drags Samuels to the centre and drops her with a Northern Lights suplex pin combo. But she doesn't stop there. She hits a spine buster. She calls the Heartbreaker into the 1, 2, 3, picking up a huge win over Samuels. Nina Samuels has been one of the kind of mainstays, and Amel's coming across. It was quite an upset. What did you think of the match?
Before I get to that match, I do want to, before that previous segment, before that, I do want to say that Joseph Connors only said like one phrase after he found out he was, and when I heard it, I was like, oh my God, he actually is trying to be William Regal. I get it. I heard it, and it really just, it was a light bulb. A light bulb went off. It went on, came on in my head. I was like, oh my God, James was spot on. But anyway, this was a solid match from both ladies. Even though it wasn't always the prettiest, and I thought they had their moments. And I agree, I was surprised that Amel won, decisively, even though at the same time it was a very competitive contest. I also want to say this has nothing to do with wrestling, but man, do I love to look at Amel. But anyway, that's it. That's pretty much what I wrote.
Well, I like looking at Aya Dragunov. So I mean, we just keep things fair. I don't mind Nina Samuels, just anybody. I'm just a lonely guy. No, tensions are mounting as the NXT UK champion Volta and Aya Dragunov prepare for the highly anticipated rematch of Takeover 36. We saw a clip of what happened on NXT. Backstage, Saxon Hutley interrupts Symbiosis interview. And then we find out next week, Mika Satomura put her NXT UK Championship on the line against the future Stevie Turner. Yeah, all right. I'm like, and now the main event, the quarterfinals of the tournament for the Heritage Cup will begin as Mark Andrews takes on Noam Dar. The match and all the matches in this tournament going forward will follow the Heritage Cup rules with 6 3-minute rounds until an opponent can score 2 points, thus crowning him the winner. First round ends 0-0, cagey stuff. And then similar to the last round, no points rewarded in round 2. Round 3, Dar sweeps the leg of Mark Andrews, causing a delay in the matchup. Tiaman and Rohan Raja make their way down to the ramp to watch this match closely. Of course, the eye is always watching. Andrews fights through the pain by hitting a double foot stomp followed by Stun Dog Millionaire. Andrews misses the move from the top, causing him to get trapped in the knee bar. Andrews can't take the pain anymore. He taps, giving Dar the first point. Do you know who Oasis are? I don't want to be ignorant here, but obviously British band, and they've done a lot of.
I've heard of them.
Okay.
I'm familiar, but I've heard of them.
Right, they've done songs like Wonderwall and stuff like this, and Dar's knee bar. This did an album called Champagne Supernova, right? Yeah. But as we know, Noam Dar knows himself as Supernova, and he basically calls it the Champagne Supernova, which I just think is genius.
It is very genius. That is a nice touch.
I'm sorry I had to explain it so much. I had to share it because I was like, oh, I really like that with Dar. Into round 4 with Dar 1-0 up. The fatigue starts to set in. Andrews versus an ankle lock from Dar turns it to a stacked pin and gets the first point in the match. And then into round 5 with 1 fall each. Both men trade knee strikes, so this round gets going. Andrews looks for 6-1-9, but Dar grabs onto Andrews' bad leg, hits the back elbow. Andrews plants a chokeslam but refuses to go for a cover. Instead, he heads to the top. But Dar pushes him off. Andrew lands on his bad knee, and Dar uses this advantage by hitting his Nova roller for the second pin and gets the win. 2 great talents here. What did you think of the matchup? And first, Noam Dar is in incredible shape as well. Like, really?
Oh, I agree. I noticed that too. He's in great shape and looked really good in this match. As a big Noam Dar fan, I really enjoyed Nigel's comments. He's putting over how much Danny Luna just wanted Dar, even though she showed no interest. She was literally telling him to go away or piss off, and he throughout the entire match, Nigel just emphatically saying that she wants Noam Dar, and she at one point after the first fall that Dar got. I know I could have swore he definitely said that Danny Luna was ashamed of Mark Andrews in the corner while she was giving him water instead, was basically tearing Mark Andrews down, which he obviously wasn't. And it was just hilarious.
I'm about to say, even Nigel saying that. And look, she smiled at Noam after the end of that round. Like, why she do? And Andy Shepherd's going, no, she didn't, Nigel. No, he did. And then even Dar kind of blowing the kiss at the end after he won of going, there you go, love, I'll see you later. Just like.
he's just that guy. He's like one of those guys that just a scumbag in a way. But man, do I love Noam Dar. He cracks me the hell up, and always has. And this match was just great. I love how much mess he talked throughout the first half of the match. And as a matter of fact, I don't think he ever stopped talking. And he just wrestled a smart match. And once the pressure ramped up and it was tied, and it was, rooting for him can be frustrating, because he couldn't leave Danny Luna alone. And it almost seemed like it would cost him in the end, but I was jumping for joy because he's just such an a-hole. But man, did I enjoy this match. I love Noam Dar. And I picked him in the beginning. This match is a perfect example of why I want to see more Noam Dar, more Heritage Cup matches, maybe even a run with it. I wouldn't be opposed to it. Noam Dar is that good.
Yeah, and wait for Sam Gradwell gets knocked out into his first tournament match, and of course that is my pick. But this was a really crisp, well-delivered main event. And the even thing I like about Noam Dar that's kind of get forgotten about is that Charles Samuels is usually kind of heavy at this moment in time. And even though he knows Shah is not with him, when he gets to the ring for round 1 and goes, where's Shah? It's that storytelling of like, people go, well, the wrestler should have said something. And he does. He goes, where the fuck is he? And he still wrestles and still wins, like little things.
Yes, it's a great touch. Good stuff all around from NXT.
Yes. Without a shadow of a doubt, as I talk over you, yes, that NXT UK really good this week. Right, next up, August 16th. And we originally reported that the tapings for NXT will be taking place next Monday and Tuesday for the Capital Wrestling Centres. It's unclear whether WWE will be taping all episodes of NXT going forward or if this is just a temporary move. The tapes are going to air on August 31st, September the 7th. No word on the dates of the net set of tapings. And starting this Tuesday, a new logo along with changes to the lighting and format of the show will be introduced, which will be interesting. I mean, what are your thoughts on this? It seems like they are really doing wholesale changes.
Yeah, and honestly, my initial thoughts are we just did this podcast just marveling through how different things are over a number of weeks. Just wait until they start to implement these changes, and we're even further behind. Another 5 weeks from now, we could be talking about a completely different NXT. So I honestly just threw my hands up in the air. I kind of face palmed or whatever. I was just like, you know what, whatever. I just got to keep up with this because it's obviously we're in for big changes. Like the changes are not stopping. That's the one thing that's not gonna stop. So I don't know I don't know what's gonna happen. Is this gonna be changes for the better, or is it gonna be weird changes? We'll see. What type of new thing is this going to be? Is this going to be on more of the Raw Underground style, or would this be one of those great changes for the better that people will actually want to mention and act like actually happened?
When do things usually change for the better? Am I just being negative?
That's a fair point.
People go, they changed my favourite program. Did they? Yeah, it's better now.
That's a great point. I can't think of time. I can't think of it.
Well, we get some news as well. Kushida is not cleared to compete as we head into our last episode of NXT. August 17th, show opens with the usual recap hype reel, and then Malcolm Bivens in the ring with Diamond Mine, or two of them. He said there's one thing he does. Activity. He's not going to get negative. He's going to get full negative as Kushida's a liar and a coward, but he gets it. He wouldn't want to defend his title against Roderick Strong either. I think in the near future it would just be Bivens talking with no one behind him, and he won't realise. My man will beat your man.
I originally looked at it and was like, man, look at how pitiful this faction looks now. They're only missing one guy, but the other guy's a coach, so this is a one wrestler faction at this point. Yes.
Legado versus Strong. Yes.
Exactly.
Fucking hell. Well, who's going to answer who's going to answer it now? Kushida can't. Well, it's Aya. Dragunov comes out, and he just seems to work harder the match, longer the match went on. He caught Strong on a rope rebound with a back uppercut to seal his victory. Or the Torpedo Moscow, as people will know it now. Dragunov demanded Volta afterward, who did not answer. And this is how much I love Aya. It looked like a vein popped in his head when the blood started pouring out.
Oh my goodness! I was trying to figure out, I didn't know if it was the short elbow or whatever it was. What cut him like that? Because it was just gushing, and it was a perfect cut, man. It was right on the money. He looked like and then he just looked so insane, but he's still moving, and literally with a cut on your forehead, your finisher is attacking with your head. Isn't that something?
I don't know why you had concussion issues later on.
Right. It really makes you wonder. But yeah, he's a tough bastard. It was good stuff. It was really, really a good match. I must say that Triple H found out or saw the releases, and he said, screw it, we're gonna lean on NXT UK these next few weeks. Come on, Ilya. I need you.
It's true. You're going to see Kaylee Ray soon, and people are going to start coming across. You're going to be like, there you go. Like I said, it was a great match between the two. And if he's losing to Volta, if Aya is, then give me Aya versus Kushida, because that is a match that would just be incredible in different ways.
It's going to be great.
Until they both get released next week. Who's your top 10 favourite wrestlers? Well, they've just all been released, weirdly. I don't know.
We have to laugh to keep from crying, guys. We don't want anyone to look off. We gotta.
We're not laughing at them. We're laughing at the situation. The whole situation. Christ. We see Samoa Joe making his way to the arena, and then we get a prime target video package for Adam Cole versus O'Reilly. I'm about done when it comes to build up for that. And we see Hit Row make their entrance. B-Fab gets on the mic and talks about Santos Escobar ripping Swerve's grill out. He calls Santos out. Escobar interrupts Hit Row on a Titatron, asking Swerve to come meet him in the parking lot. And he's all alone. And he's off to give the grill back. So, of course, he'd be fine. But obviously, Mendoza was attacked. But Hit Row, even the odds, Swerve got Escobar alone, laid him out for walking away with his grill back in his hand. This feud had been bubbling nicely. I think it was really well filmed and done. I don't know what you think.
Yeah, I agree. Again, like I said, well done, well paced. Like everything is going at the right motion. Everyone's involved. No, I don't think either side has been overexposed or no one's made to look bad. I love how this has been like six people were really seven who are all involved with each other, but no one has been has looked to a point to where it's just like okay, they are just embarrassing one side. It's been a very balanced feud also. And like I said, when we get that eventual title match, or not only that, but the tag match, it's gonna be hot in the CWC because they've been doing a really, really good job of building this story the right way.
Yeah, without a shadow of a doubt. When we get a WWE.com video of LA Knight training and bragging about how Ted DiBiase is going to be his butler after Takeover, he approaches Josh Briggs and promises him 10 grand if he injures Cameron Grimes tonight. We see Imperium get a promo. Volta says tonight isn't about him and Aya. It's about Marcel Barthel and Fabian Eichner teaching MSK a lesson. And then $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase is on commentary for the next one. Cameron Grimes versus Josh Briggs. And we see them putting a bet on at ringside, adding it was 10 grand. I think it was like I said 20 grand bet if Cameron Grimes could get the job done, which he did when he hit the cave-in for the pinfall victory. I'm just pausing for effect. I've not lost my page at all. So what did you... And post-match Knight's laid Grimes out and slaps and taunts DiBiase. What were your thoughts on this?
The match itself again was like you said, if you want to say that Cameron needed to kind of get built up in a way in the ring going into their match at Takeover. I thought the match did its job when it came to that because we kind of had a similar thing happen with LA Knight in his kind of squash match, so it was cool there. LA Knight being a douchebag and laying them both out. Only problem I may have with that is that it was expected, kind of. What was stopping LA Knight from hitting DiBiase the second time? Nothing. He was right next to him. It was nothing going to stop him from attacking him again. No way he was going to pay him. So another scenario of just showing how much of a dirtbag that LA Knight is.
Yeah, I think we've come to a point in that feud now, the way they've built this Takeover match that. I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing DiBiase become a butler, but I just worry that he'd kind of forget his line every week, if you know what I mean, and they would extend to that.
Honestly, I think it's time. I like DiBiase, but I don't think he needs to be around every week for the next, however long they're going to continue this feud. I think it also could be just time for either, for Cameron Grimes to prevail, to event, because I don't necessarily think I'm that into Ted the Butler, but we'll see.
And like I said, if things don't work out for NXT, you can always walk Andrade out to the ring, can't he, or something like that. So, we get Johnny Gargano and Candice LeRae hanging out when Indy Hartwell rolls up. Disgusted when she relates the details of her last date with Dexter Lumis. Aside from the hot air balloon ride, which they admit is pretty cool, she threatens to get matching tattoos and wants to take things to the next level, to which Johnny says there's no real proof wrestling as a team. Garner says how the cake tasted last week, and Hartwell says Dexter loved it and even had room for pie. But that wasn't on the menu. Oh, I see.
I don't know how I feel about the mute and his pie eating, but
but you can sure look at it.
I must say that if we are still of the understanding that he is a serial killer, we all must thank Indy Hartwell for sacrificing her body to prevent murders everywhere in the Florida area.
It's
so wherever Dexter Lumis wrong.
She's laying in bed and he's just sitting in a chair staring at it. His eyes widen.
People, women do have a thing for that whole, that art, the starving artist, the artist thing. But, he got everything. He got all these other red flags.
Fucking hell.
They keep wanting us to focus on the fact that he can draw, but he just got so many other red flags.
It's a killing. It's murder. Right important. Fucking hell. Right. Well, Io Shy and Zoe Starker interview backstage. Stark says they are completely different backgrounds. They don't speak the same language, but just like Rome wasn't built in a day, this friendship won't happen overnight. Shy cuts her off and says they're not friends. It's only about defending the titles. I mean, Io is cool, but she's been a bit of a bitch, isn't she?
No, she is. But honestly, see, this what makes me feel like, man, am I an a-hole? Because part of me feels like, why don't she get it? I don't like you. Stay away from me. We're tag champions. I don't like you. It is what it is. Let's just wrestle. Get away from me.
I've told you I don't like you.
We work together. That is it.
Do not confuse us as friends. We are work colleagues. All right, work acquaintances, if that. Well,
Yeah.
our next fucking hell. Our next match is oh God. Our next match is Index, Dexter Loomis and Indy Hartwell, of course, versus Jessica Kamara and Robert Stone. Kamara got Loomis's face and slapped him. This set off Hartwell, attacking Kamara viciously outside. Silence in the ring, forces a submission while Loomis knocks Stone outside. Loomis and Hartwell stare intently at each other. Indy goes to Beth Phoenix at ringside to get a little pep talk before returning to the ring and approaching Dexter. She gets on one knee and pulls out a ring. And Loomis nods his assent as she puts the ring on him. And they smooch. Yes, they are. It's happening. Well, let me just say, the only wrestling wedding ceremony I want to go off without a hitch. A couple of things. Indy is spot on Dexter impression. I love the role Beth has played in this. Robert Stone finally wrestling. He will be in the next round of cuts. He was paying homage to Steven Seagal in this match. And
a horrible ponytail. Oh my God. Yeah, and I love, by the way, I didn't know if you were going to mention, but Baron's role also. He has done a great job of always just looking at this entire relationship with disgust. I love his disgust. It's just great. Man, I agree. Beth played a great role. The drop, she's just so dramatic. She's over the top about it all. But I do want to go back to our pie eating discussion. That was some really good pie. And the fact that he's ready to get married already. Wow.
Without a doubt, he wants to buy the whole shop. But the thing is like what can go wrong at the wedding? I mean, let's hopefully look forward to it. But like,
at that point, I'm already ready to laugh because I can see, especially with the way being involved. Yeah, it's gonna be hilarious.
Unless when he finally speaks and they go, "Do you take, Indy?" I take Indy, and she's like, "Look, I can't. I can't. What's wrong with my voice? Have you got a problem?" Like, no, it's fine.
What a good payoff.
Yeah. Hopefully Austin Theory kind of goes crazy and destroys everybody. That'd be pretty cool. But then we see Malcolm Bivens rolling up and say Ed Dragunov is a heavyweight. So as far as he's concerned, the match never happened. And Strong is still focused on being number one contender to the NXT Cruiserweight Champion. And yes, you guessed it, Aya weighs 198 pounds. We got Gonzalez. Says from she showed up at Takeover a year ago. She knew she was going to get into and that Kai would betray her one day. So Gonzalez knew Kai would betray her and yet still got betrayed by her. But still, Dakota says they're big words for Mama Cool, but how tough was she when she knocked her out weeks ago? Raquel says she's dominated the division. She's a superstar now, and Kai hasn't taken the title off her. Kai calls her delusional. She kicked her face off before she put her hands up and took everything she knows, and she's going to she made her a somebody, and that take her be the somebody that she beats to become champion. And then there was a bit at the end as well where Raquel said something to Kai, and Kai said, "Oh no, you didn't say that," and then they didn't reference it. And then I thought, what was that about? Like, I can't even remember what the word was. Literally after 6 episodes of NXT, you kind of forget.
Yeah, she said she called her a sidekick, I believe. She called her a sidekick, and then that's what apparently like Dakota was offended. Oh, okay, so in a way. But yeah, I think she said she called her sidekick.
Oh, I thought it was psychic.
Yeah.
I was
not psychic.
How can being a psychic be a fucking like, oh, you're psychic, you are, how dare you?
You're psychic, how dare you? say that I can see the future.
I knew you were going to say that, but I'm upset. Like, that makes a lot more sense.
Right. Yeah. So it was weird. I must say, I want to say, my overall, I thought Dakota Kai again was spot on. I wonder who or what was the plan going in when it came to Raquel's promo, because like you said, immediately she comes out and she says she knew it, but you were literally begging for contenders to come to you. No one came out, and you didn't see that your best friend would be that. Like, you knew it though. You see what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't really add up with how everything played out. Especially with how hurt she looked right after the kick. So I didn't really too much care for that. But honestly, I don't really even know if WWE are really or like NXT is really clear on who they want, because I think the CWC is obviously going to be behind Dakota Kai. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't necessarily see how you can look at this and not be behind Dakota Kai, even though she was the one who turned on Raquel. Raquel over time does not seem more likable in this situation, if you see what I'm saying. So, that the segment to me kind of put into, more perspective of why I would like, even though I think the match would be great, I would love Dakota Kai to take the title, just based on not only what she's been through overall, but just like involvement in this story. And maybe putting Raquel on the chase could change the way, because I just don't see it as a babyface right now. I don't know. But again, maybe this match isn't about babyface and heel. It's just personal. But I don't really know, like, who is the one that's trying to garner sympathy in this story.
Yeah, is it the unstoppable monster, or is it the one that kind of made her in that position? Because you kind of think with Kai, you always got someone in your life that, you brought in, you help them out, and then suddenly they think they're either like bigger or better, and then all of a sudden it's like, hang on a second here. Like, you compare it to maybe like a Shawn Michaels Diesel back in the day, exactly. Between those two before they started becoming, friends again. But even then, with like the takeover twist to it, like Kai winning, I think Kai has been one of the most consistent women in NXT for at least a good couple of years, and I don't think she gets the credit maybe others do.
Yeah, I agree. I think barring injury, the tough injury that she's went through and overcame, that's the only thing that probably that would be preventing her. But like, just the way we hold Candice LeRae to kind of this status in the women's division because what she's done, Dakota Kai is not too far behind. Not only just in what she's done in NXT, but just like over the span of her career. So, like, again, when you think about how Dakota Kai has always come up short too, Shayna Baszler over the years and all of that type of stuff, and the storyline there when Dakota Kai before she actually kind of found her edge. So it's just a great story overall there for Dakota Kai if this could be her moment. And it tells a great story when it comes to Raquel's evolution, as a character. So again, I'm very invested in what they have going on here. But I don't see how you can look at this situation and not want to root for Dakota Kai.
Yeah, I think without a shadow of a doubt. Well, up next, NXT Breakout semi-finals. Carmelo Hayes versus Duke Hudson. Hayes hit a scissor kick followed by a jumping DDT on the apron, which looked like it killed Hudson. This is enough.
Oh my God.
I mean, it was bad. I mean, even when the commentators back to it, there's a problem. But some fucking, I don't know how Hayes pulled it out, but a diving leg drop got the win. And he promised to be the final boss that took down Odyssey Jones. This brought out the big man to promise to beat Hayes. I was surprised Hudson lost because I thought that maybe had been a better matchup for the final.
I agree. I 100% agree. I thought he was actually, I think I mentioned this when I picked Odyssey Jones, that Duke Hudson was probably my second favorite in this entire tournament. So it was definitely a surprise. But I must say, over the span of this tournament, Carmelo Hayes has impressed in every match that he has been in my opinion. I think he's had this match included and the match before this were two of the best matches of the entire tournament so far. And I must say that in this tournament, even though I believe Odyssey Jones will win and I'm sticking with my pick, I wouldn't be surprised if Carmelo Hayes pulls it out. And also, I believe if you want to say the definition of just breaking out, like Odyssey Jones is easily going to be a star. But Carmelo Hayes, based on the matches in this tournament, may be the only one that was in this tournament that has truly broken out. And if you see what I'm trying to say, based on the quality of matches he's had.
Yeah, well, I think without a doubt, like you said, I'm hoping one day with a tournament to lose to the guy who loses to the guy that actually wins it. And that's the dream for me, anyway. Back from commercial, $1 Million Man's Ted DiBiase visits Cameron Grimes in his trainer's room. He apologises, but Grimes says he got himself into this mess, and all Ted did was give him the opportunity to win the $1 Million championship he wanted. But when he stopped believing in himself, the $1 Million Man believed in him, and he ain't a butler. He tears his shirt off and says he's going to be $1 Million champions going to the moon. Fucking Grimes explained everything and knocked out the park. Promo.
To the that. By the way, something that I didn't realize when he was saying it as a heel has just crossed over so well as a babyface. That catchphrase in itself, if you see what I'm saying, has just it's just amazing to me how something that I was looking at as annoying when he was doing it as a heel worked so well as a babyface also.
And like I said, that chart to the moon. It's so simple as well.
Right.
Like I said, it just works, and I cannot wait for Takeover. And the NXT Tag Team Championships on the line. Imperium, Fabio Knight and Marcel Barthel versus MSK, Nash Carter and Wes Lee. And Barthel lost his hold on the worn-down champions as Volta walked out to watch closely. Nash Carter got the hot tag and the 2 nearly took the win. Volta distracted referee to set up Imperium's finisher, but Dragunov arrived to take out the champion. In the chaos, MSK hit an elevated blockbuster for the victory, and Volta barely paid attention as he attempted to take out his #1 contender. Post-match, we get a wild brawl and Volta powerbombs Carter into the apron. Imperium get Dragunov in the ring alone, and Volta chokes him out. Like I said, Walter looks at Imperium and says, I will have to do this myself. Got off his throne, and walked down there. Literally, this is a job for me. What do you think of this matchup? And Volta's just dominant.
Oh man, he looked great, and it was just perfect for his character, like you said, to just come down and just make the tag champions look like fodder. Just throw them, get out of my way, and then you take out your challenger and just stand tall. And a good, again, like I mentioned earlier, Triple H with the news and with not knowing the future of most of his roster, said I'm going to lean on the strongest story that I have in NXT, across both brands, if you really want to think about it, and because of the hype of that first, Dragunov and Volta match. So I think this was a strong way to end this segment. It was a strong match too, by the way. Again, I keep referencing this. By the way, I point this out. MSK has pretty much beaten everyone. I think Vic Joseph did a good job of mentioning this on commentary. And, that they've taken out, the Dangerous Bastards. They've taken out GYV, now Imperium, and, Brazongo when they were there. So it's like, what do you do now in that division? Is there a team that even looks even close to priming or even close to that level? I don't necessarily think so, since they've beaten everyone. So that's an interesting note too. But the brawl leading up to that championship match, I know you can't wait. And I think this did a great job of just getting everyone else along the ride and getting them ready for this weekend.
Yeah, without a shadow of a doubt, where we see Cameron Cross Mojo walking backstage in a split screen. I said it's a break, even. Losing power of speech. Pete Dunne is standing in front of a brick wall with Ridge Holland. Pete said he don't step to geezers like them. Ridge said he doesn't care how long Timothy Thatcher and Champion is, but he respects that they got the bollocks to challenge him. He's going to make his name at Thatcher's expense next week. Well, the thing is, the parlance like wanker and bollocks, which I hear from like Will Ospreay or these guys, and I think that would not be allowed on British TV at that time.
Right. It's cultural. It's just different. We don't really even look at the word. I think Drew McIntyre gets away with it every now and then. It just happens. One of those things of good old Americans not paying any attention.
Well, all the wankers everywhere. Just loads of wankers, yeah. Anyway, Samoa Joe makes his entrance and gets on the mic. He said he's not a man here to hurt Karrion Kross's feelings. He's simply here to hurt him. So tuck your clock in your back pocket and find out what happens when a little less space and a lot more opportunity between them. enter Karrion Kross. He says he's not going to let Joe walk in after 36 months off and win the NXT Championship. That's why it's Takeover 36 then. He's calling security down right now, not to protect himself, but to protect Samoa Joe. He gets to me and says he's going to drop Joe, but Samoa attacks first, knocks him down with a headbutt off the rope. Joe dives into a pile of security guards. How long have we waited to see that? He then takes Kross to the Lex and to the apron, to the steps. Hammering punches the security, pulls them away. And then they have this couple of things on this episode of NXT kind of didn't work straight away. Even when they went into the kind of Lexan panel, it kind of took a little time to break straight away, didn't it? You know, I still really enjoyed the fighting between the two. And this is the thing, and you mentioned it straight at the start. If Kross hadn't been on Raw, this would have been even more special, wouldn't it?
Oh man, it would have been, like you said, it just would have been built because like that again, if you watch Raw every week, you kind of get a weekly. I don't know if to make it simple, a disconnect from what we see on Wednesday or what we've been seeing. The interest is different. The everything about the presentation is completely different than the Karrion Kross, the champion that we have come to know. So without that, if you take that away, he's still that unstoppable monster that he's been. And and maybe some people, I've seen it on the internet, maybe what Adam Cole said kind of started to take away some of that armor. But at the same time, you can't tell me that promo killed him, public opinion wise, more than losing to Jeff Hardy in his first debut, or losing the elements of his entrance that make him so special or make him different. So, a lot of that stuff was put into place obviously by design. And the Jeff Hardy thing and the Adam Cole promo kind of go hand. So I agree. I think all of this would have been even more special if he was still the special champion that he was pre-Raw, even and maybe even pre-Adam Cole. But in the end of the day, like you said, for people like me who've just been waiting for Samoa Joe's return pre-release, like even when he was just doing commentary on Monday Night Raw, I was just waiting for any glimmer of hope that he will return to the ring. So to see that suicide dive, to see just, to get a taste of what we may see this weekend. It's going to be his first match in a year, so I don't know what really to expect. But at the same time, he has a track record of just putting on great performances and, telling great physical stories. So I can't wait to finally put all the talking behind us and get to watching what happens at Takeover.
Well, without a doubt. So finally, we're just going to run through the Takeover card quickly. And after that brilliant build for, like you said, with Joe and Kross, I'm going to ask you what match you're looking forward to most. So we've got Volta versus I for the NXT United Kingdom Championship. Karrion Kross versus Samoa Joe for the NXT Championship. Raquel Gonzalez versus Dakota Kai for the NXT Women's title. LA Knight versus Cameron Grimes for the $1 Million Championship. And Kyle O'Reilly versus Adam Cole, 2 out of 3. I will say personally, I think the match I'm not that it's weird. O'Reilly and Cole, even though I know it's going to be like 45 minutes and really good, the rest of the card I'm really buzzing for,
I agree 100%. It's amazing when you think about how many times you've seen a card and the 2 out of 3 falls match is probably the match you're least excited for. That just shows you how well the other matches' stories are by comparison. By comparison to what Kyle O'Reilly and Adam Cole has going. The rest stories are not only fresher, but they're just more interesting, and the people that are involved are just, they're just overall better at this point. And the match, like you said, will be great. But I agree, as far as building and what they've built up to in this takeover, that match is.
Yeah, I would say. I mean, for me personally, match I'm most looking forward to. Like I talked about, Dragunov versus Volta, and again, I don't mind sharing. This is the whole point. This is why I like watching different wrestling with different people to show them. But all these people that are going to jump on the bandwagon over the weekend and go, "Oh, I versus Volta are going to steal the show" or whatever bullshit. We know us 2 months ago what it was going to be like. So I think that is the match that it for me, and I'm going to jinx myself, but it can't be bad. It can't.
I agree. It's gonna be tough to not be, and I don't see a scenario. You got to be some freak, something weird. I don't know. Something weird has to happen for that to be ruined. So I don't disagree there. And as much as I am hyped for the Samoa Joe and Cross matchup, I must say that because of what I mentioned and how long it has been since Joe has had one match, I still don't necessarily know what to expect, because even though I'm interested to see what Joe and Cross can do, but their styles are so similar, I don't know if it'll even compare to the violence and the impact and just the type of wrestling we're going to see out of Walter and Dragunov. So I think that's why another reason I want to say, I think it was really smart to lean on NXT, the UK guys, these last few weeks, to not only build the familiarity for people on the outside who don't view NXT UK, but also just to showcase or give a tease for anyone who don't know and the people who do know of what's coming at Takeover. And I think we're all going to be in for like one of the best matches in the world again when Dragunov and Walter take place. So I'm definitely most excited for that, even though I may be more interested in some of the other stories. Like I may be more interested in what Grimes and LA Knight is doing story-wise, but I don't see how can I not be, any more. And I was very amped up for the Walter and Dragunov match weeks ago. So.
Well, that's what I'm saying, and that's what a takeover, and that's what makes it so special, because you can talk it up as much as you want, and it will never let you down. But that is it for today. Don't forget, of course, all social media, Twitter at the WNR Podcast. I'm at the WNRJR. Monty, where can people find you?
At my Monty Pod on Twitter. Just hit me up on there. All my links are there. Everything you need to know is there, and everything you will need to know will be there. At my Monty Pod on Twitter.
Well, WNR also on Facebook and Instagram, across all Google platforms. Send us an email at WNRpodcast@gmail.com, and YouTube WNR Podcast. We have all latest clips and podcasts at the same time on YouTube, Cloud, on your phone, also Spotify and iTunes. We can download, subscribe, rate, and review there. So that is it. I'd just like to thank everybody for tuning into our live show yesterday for SummerSlam Party. And we're going to have more Monty coming up as well, because you will be joining us hopefully on Tuesday for the NXT Takeover 36 review of it. We've talked for 2.5 hours. Now we're going to actually watch the event.
About damn time, right?
A shadow of a doubt. But until then, I've been James Rowlands, and I was joined by Monty. Again, Monty, thanks for being on the show. Like I said, you're part of the family now, son.
I don't know. Is this a weird Austin Theory Gargano thing we have going on here? Or, I don't know how far away in age we are at this. Yeah.
Yeah. I call you son. I'm actually 10 years younger than you.
Exactly.
It's a kind of more of like, when Austin used to go, Jesus Christ, son, goddamn kid. Like that kind of, anyway. I have, goddamn kid. But anyway, so that is it for today's show, which has probably had more laughs packed in it than podcast has in a very long time. Thanks for listening, everybody, and bye.
Adios.